And if I've pressed the right button, I think I have pressed the right button. That means we are live. So good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. And also joining me tonight, down in the bottom right of the screen, is Scott. Thank you very much, Scott, for joining me. And you're here tonight to show us a game that you've been working on for, well, you were just telling me just before we went live. How many years have you been working on this? Right, okay. At that point, you decided, I need to do something with this. Let's get physically something made and see how we get on. Yeah. Right. So this game is Dragons Down. We're going to be playing the game on Tabletop Simulator tonight because Scott is not able to teleport here with his physical prototype of the game. This is a game which is going to be published by Mr. B Games. It's going to be going on Kickstarter, potentially the end of September, but that may slip a little bit. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. There is a page on Board Game Geek for it, and I think there is a link on the Board Game Geek page, or there will be, to the Kickstarter whenever it goes live. Is it Kickstarter that Sean's going to be using, or is it a different platform? Right, okay, bear with us a minute. I've had this problem before, so apologies. I think that should have fixed it.
Imagine I said something brilliant while you couldn't hear me.
Right, yes, Scott said something brilliant. No, he was insulting everybody. That's what he was doing. That's why I muted him. Hopefully they can hear you now. It's fixed. Excellent, excellent. Okay, great. That was my fault.
All you missed is that I've worked on this game for 15 years. It's my grail game, but really been putting serious effort into it for about the last 5.
Yeah, that's the important stuff that you missed. So yeah, it's going to be going on Kickstarter or some other crowdfunding platform. I think Sean uses Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
So that's going to be going live maybe end of September, maybe afterwards. So we fixed Scott's sound, which is great. But let me know in the chat if the sound levels between me and Scott are roughly the same, or if I'm too loud or he's too loud, because I can fix that here. It's not able for me to actually tell the different levels apart. So yeah, let me know if the sound levels between the two of us are okay. What we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be giving you a very quick overview of the game, and then we're going to be playing a full solo game of it. So this isn't just going to be like a 20-minute overview video. We're actually going to be playing a full game of this tonight. But this game is Dragons Down. And there are multiple ways that you can play this game. You can play this game solo, you can play it multiplayer, and the multiplayer version of the game you can either play cooperatively or you can play competitively. But even the competitive version of the game has each player traveling around, completing quests and trying to get legend points. It doesn't actually have any direct player versus player combat in it, unless you want it to. So even when you're playing competitively, there is an extra bit that I think, Scott, you were saying was like a small section of the rules where players could actually fight each other.
Yeah, and the reality is Magic Realm is the inspiration for this game. Mm-hmm. Dragons Down continues the tradition of it being a brutal place to be. And so playing with friends is a great thing. But, sometimes you want to do a little better than your friends.
Yeah.
And so you can play a mode where you take things from them if you wish.
Yes. So you mentioned Magic Realm then, and this game, you've admitted that this game is inspired by Magic Realm. For those people who don't know what Magic Realm is, it's a game from 1979 by Richard Hamblin, which has got extremely complicated rules. And most people who've tried to learn how to play Magic Realm have failed. Scott, you are not one of those people. You are somebody who's not only learned how to play, but you have been teaching Magic Realm to people, for quite a while.
It's my favorite game, to be honest. And I'm 56, and I may be the youngest person who knows how to play it.
Yeah.
Magic Realm is... Yeah, and so this was meant. Dragons Down was designed from the ground up to give you the same feelings you got when you played Magic Realm, but brought into the modern day of board gaming, right? Where it doesn't have a 160-page rulebook.
Yeah. So is it fair to say that if Magic Realm was designed now, in modern standards, this is what it would be? Is this a modern version of that game?
Yeah, I'm not going to give myself that much credit, Paul.
Okay.
I would love, I'll do that for people who play the game after I'm long gone to say, this was successful in doing that. That right there would be the highest praise I could possibly receive.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to dive into this tonight. I don't actually know how to play, so what we're going to be doing, this is going to be a rolling teach. Scott is going to be teaching me how to play the game as we go through it. But as far as the solo game goes, and I think the multiplayer games as well, you can either play a sandbox mode, where the objective is to travel around the land, completing quests and defeating monsters and gaining, is it legend points?
Legend points,
Legend
correct.
points. Or there are going to be multiple scenarios included in the game, which gives you specific directions, specific quests, and things like that. We're going to be playing the sandbox mode tonight. And the goal of the sandbox game is to score 20 legend points before dying. So literally, we play this game. If we get to 20, we stop, we win, and we are a legend. Or we carry on going until we die, trying to get there. We have chosen to play tonight the Dwarven Barbarian. So you'll notice that this is made up of 2 separate cards. And in this TTS mod, which Scott, I think you said you're going to make this available for the public to play it when the game is on Kickstarter. It's going to come with 4 preset characters. We've moved the others off to one side for now, just so that we're focusing on this character. But when you actually dive into playing this game in full, there's going to be some additional heroes over here that we'll cover at the end of this video. But it isn't just fixed characters. It is maybe when you first play the game. But yeah, so we're going to be playing Dwarven Barbarian. And the only other thing that I remember from what you told me yesterday are these terrain tiles. So what we've got is we've got terrain tiles which are a mixture from 3 different terrain packs. We have the caves, the mountains, and the woods. Now, the caves and the mountains are in every game, but then you can add in 1 or more other terrain packs, and we are adding in the woods today. Are these going to be available as stretch goals or expansion sets or modular add-ons?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They'll be included in the campaign. We're in the process of determining exactly, what stretch goals, what's add-ons, etc. But the goal here is you could play a small game, or you could have an epic experience, and it's your choice based upon the amount of free time that you have.
Right. Okay. And all these tiles might all look the same, but actually each one of them has an icon on to tell you which particular set it is from. So this ancient hole here, is it that icon there just above giant bats?
That's correct.
Right.
That's and it also is the color of the name of the tile. Also lets you know what pack it's from.
Right. Got it. Okay. So what do we need to do to start? Are we going to have a quick run through this character mat first? Just a brief explanation of what we've got here.
Yeah, sounds great. This character mat is it's called a hero board, is the representation of your hero's body. You can see various locations where people can store equipment. In this case, an iron helm and a great axe. Mm-hmm. So as one would imagine, a Dwarven Barbarian is kind of a monster clobberer.
Yeah, and the great axe is between 2 slots because it is a 2-handed weapon. So it actually goes there. That's
correct. So if we stumble upon a shield or something, Paul will have a tough choice to make.
Right.
Okay, so and then again, you have this lineage card on the left. In this case, Paul's chosen a dwarf, and a class on the right, the barbarian. The combination of those 2 cards determine the characteristics of your hero. And so, as you can imagine, if you were playing a halfling barbarian, which is a possibility in this game, the characteristics are going to be very different. In this case, we won't go into a ton of detail, but we'll say here he has 4 health. Those are the pink cubes on the upper right of the screen. He has the ability. Yeah, he has the ability. Those boxes, the ones next to the hand, are how fast he can attack. The ones by the feet are how fast he can maneuver. Right. In order to do those, he has to place those brown cubes in those spaces. And as you can imagine, he has a cube limit as to how many he can play during any particular combat round. The red cubes represent his strength. So as one would imagine, Paul is very strong, not the fastest guy on the planet.
Yeah. Okay, so the 3 brown cubes I will use to put in these slots here. The pink cubes are my health, which has been determined by the number of hearts here. And then the red cubes are my strength. I've noticed that there's a red slot on here, so presumably I'm going to be putting the red cubes on there when we attack.
You got it. And the dark red spots are mandatory, so you have to play 3 red cubes every combat round
Right.
just to swing the great axe. Optionally, you can add 1 more to do more damage.
Got it. Got it. Okay. We've got. It looks like we've got 16 gold pieces here.
Yep. You have some money to start the game. Not much.
Right. Okay. And there's 3 pink cubes up here. What are these?
Yeah.
for?
So pink cubes represent status cubes. You'll notice there are 3 boxes to the right of those cubes. Those represent 3 things. Number 1, whether you've taken the sneak action. In other words, am I being careful throughout the day?
Mm-hmm.
That helps you hide from monsters. If you are successful in hiding, you're hidden for the rest of the day. You put a pink cube in the hidden box.
Right.
The final one is that alert. Yep, exactly like that. A little bit fiddly in Tabletop Simulator, but in real life, very satisfying to move a cube to your hide box, I assure you. And then there's an alert box. And the alert box it allows you to redo your equipment, to move stuff around on your board. It also means you're walking around with your weapon in hand, and you can play an extra cube. You're limited to 5 cubes per combat round. If you are alert for that day, you can play 6 that day.
Right.
Or that turn.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking earlier on, because I said, "Oh, is this game going to come with miniatures?" And you said, "Nope, it's not going to come with miniatures. It's going to come with is it like poker chips or something?"
Yeah. Again, all that's kind of under discussion, but the intention at this point is to do it with poker-sized chips.
Yeah.
For monsters.
Yeah, because as you say, there's so many different lineages and so many different classes that you would end up with so many different combinations that miniatures might not be feasible.
Yeah, if people would like to give me $800 per copy of the game, I am happy to provide you with a ton of miniatures. I just didn't think you folks would want that. So. Yeah.
Okay, so where are we going to start then? Is it a fixed location or do we have a choice?
You have a choice. So in the sandbox mode, this kind of world, this realm has been devastated by dragons 200 years ago, and you are now re-entering it. There are some civilization spots. Those are where the white circles are, where folks have kind of reestablished some beginnings of civilization. You enter from any map edge of your choice with that big barbarian class token there.
So when you say a map edge, that means along one of these paths?
That is correct. Your first move is into one of those. Those are called clearings. You move into one of those clearings.
Any particular advice that you want to give me, or does it not matter for the first one?
I would choose something at the top of the map, maybe one of those woods or something like that.
What's the number in the clearing?
So that just is used to determine where things are located. So when you find a treasure site, it will have a number on it that says, "Hey, this is in location 2."
Okay.
And then there are some random things, like if you should fight a Titan and get teleported, he's going to zap you to some other place on the map.
Got it. Okay. So it's not that there's like 6 enemies on that space then. It's just that if we need to decide a random space on this tile, we'd roll a dice.
The only thing that matters is red spaces cost 2 movement to enter. You have 4 actions per turn, Paul.
Yeah.
And entering a mountain space costs 2. Everything else costs 1.
Okay.
Caves have an additional difficulty to them, but we'll cover that if you should happen to move to 1.
I'm gonna come on, and you'll tell me if this is a really bad idea. We're gonna walk into here, and we're gonna go into this tile here, because this tile is the sanctuary. So that sounds nice.
Yeah, so that's actually a safe spot. That's why they're printed as white. When you enter a tile, the first thing that you do, Paul, is you place tokens in the tile. Mm-hmm. When you enter a white space, that's a civilization space. And over on the left, from where you are now, there should be some little civilization tokens.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the whole tile is a safe space because there is a civilization there?
That is correct. There are ways that they can become dangerous, but to start with, hey, congratulations to you. The folks at the sanctuary have cleared this space of monsters.
Nice.
You're going to reveal 2 of those face up and put them next to that civilization location, just next to the circle. So okay. What this represents is, Okay. And so, and I'm going to zoom in here myself.
Yep. We've got a Smith,
you found Smith,
and we've got an empty.
Yeah, so over here on the left, Paul, on the terrain setup card,
Yep.
There is a smith who is located at that sanctuary, and he has 2 treasures, 8 items for sale, and he has 2 missions that you could accept. So you can adjust the way you can accept a mission, which are either quests, atrocities, or
Right.
expeditions, and earn some money, some fame points, legend points, get in trouble with the law, etc.
Okay. And the reason why we got the smith is because that was just randomly determined from this pile. If we'd have drawn, say, the crone, then it would have been totally different. Right. Got it.
That's exactly right.
Okay. And can we interact with that even though we're here rather than here?
Nope. In order to go visit those folks, you have a little bit of a journey ahead of you if you wanted to do that.
Okay. So
the reason you might
those
want to
things
go
are
there is the reason you might want to go there is your 16. You got 16 gold to spend. I'll tell you right now, it's probably not going to buy 18 or whatever. You're probably not going to buy a lot with that.
Okay.
Much.
Okay. Got it. Right. So did that cost us any actions to move onto the board?
Yep, that was one action to move to the sanctuary.
Okay. And does anything else happen after we've moved there, or not because it's safe?
Yeah, at the end of your turn, we're going to roll some summoning dice to see if the monsters have noticed you.
Okay, right. So where's the summoning dice?
Those are going to be over on the right. You don't do that until after you've taken your full 4 actions.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got 4 actions.
Yeah. And if I was playing with you, Paul, you would take all your actions. We'd randomly determine who goes in what order. Then I would take all my actions. And at the end of everybody's actions, we roll the dice to see what happens. There's an unknown aspect. You don't know if monsters are coming to say hello.
Right. Okay. So that was one action to move to there. So it's clearly one action to move to a space unless it's red, which means it's mountains and that costs 2. What other actions can I do on my turn? You mentioned sneaking earlier on.
Yeah, so if you were to go down to the top of your player board, all the actions that you can do are listed there.
Nice. Okay.
And so the aforementioned sneak, very helpful for hiding. Alert, again, already mentioned. Move, pretty straightforward. If you are in a clearing that has a treasure site or has a hidden path, you can search for it.
Right.
Okay. Once you've found a treasure site, you can loot it. You can rest. This is going to come in handy for a dwarf barbarian. You can trade with other players or with merchants if you were to go to that sanctuary.
Right.
If you find spell books, you can learn spells. And the final thing you can do is you can enchant tiles to turn them over and make a certain color of magic appear throughout the tile.
Okay.
So for now, you're trying to probably moving around and sneaking is my general recommendation to new players.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's go over here. So let's spend a second movement point to move to here.
Yeah.
Let's do a third movement point to move to here, and then I'm going to spend my fourth action to sneak. Is that right?
Before you even do that, you've moved into a mountain tile.
Yeah.
And so over here on the mountain terrain setup card is a pile of mountain chits. Just grab the first one off there and reveal it in the tile.
Okay. And it is a site.
And so right here, there are site tokens. Just take the top one off and reveal it in the tile. You found it. You've found out. You've seen the signs that there's a treasure site in location 1.
That's where I am.
So you put the chamber in location 1 and in clearing 1, and then put your token back on top of it. You can just put that off to the side. So let's go over to the terrain setup card for the chamber, which is over here. Just real briefly to explain that. The chamber has 3 deep treasures and 3 treasures in it.
Right. Yep.
Deep treasures tend to be more valuable, but not necessarily. And the guy who doesn't like you being there is a Titan.
Right.
I think I mentioned earlier he kind of likes to teleport you to other locations, just get you out of his space. So that's what that token represents. He's not at the chamber right now. He's out doing his business.
Okay.
But the die roll might have him be there.
Right.
Okay. So back over on that map now, Paul. You have one action left. You have and let's just talk about a couple things.
Yeah.
When we're going to roll some summoning dice, if they show claw marks, then a griffin is going to come to the tile. Then one or more griffins are going to come to the tile.
Okay.
If we roll a mountain symbol, one or more juvenile dragons are going to come to the tile. And if you roll a sight symbol, then the titan is going to come to visit you.
Okay. Now, if I was sneaking, does that mean that there's less chance of monsters turning up?
That it's same chance they show up, but it increases your chance to hide from them.
Right. Okay. Well, that seems like a good thing to do. So if I spend my 4th action to sneak, I just put the cube on there. Is that right?
That's exactly right, and that's a wise move.
So I've had my 4 actions.
Okay, so now on the far right, you'll see there's a load of custom dice. You roll all 4 of those summoning dice at the same time.
Right. Okay. So let's see what we've got.
Yeah, that's among the worst rolls I've ever seen anybody do. So here's the way this works. Remember, we said, hey, if you roll a claw mark. So first we do the black dice.
Yeah,
those are the local monsters. In this case, 3 of the local monsters are coming to visit you if there's a claw symbol in your tile, and as you may recall, there is. So 3 griffins, and those are the black bags. So the bags are color coded to the type of dice. So you'll see here, just grab 3 griffins out of there.
Yeah.
Just put them in a pile. Yep. And we'll take a look at those in a moment. Okay, and then you go down and you say, well, what else happens? You have a
juvenile dragons.
Yeah, 2 juvenile dragons. Those are the white bags, and it's above the mountain. It's right here. It's above the mountain. 2 of those.
Nice.
So we're normal turn. You might have maybe 1, sometimes 2 monsters come.
Got 5.
Paul, you have 5.
So I'm going to go back home and spend my 16 gold pieces down the pub, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well. And your life's probably not going to last long. Okay, so here's what happens, right? They arrive in your clearing. They go right on. I'll pick up your token for you. You can put them right in the chamber. Okay, and then you're on top. Okay, so when they arrive, you have the ability to react. I don't know about you, but if 3 griffins and 2 dragons arrive, I tend to want to hide.
Yes.
There are hide dice over on the right. They are black, and there's So you roll those dice. If one of those monster symbols that says they found you comes up, you are unsuccessful in your hide. Okay, we'll cover this in a moment.
Well, that looks like a couple of blanks to me.
Yeah. Now, here's the benefit of sneaking. If this had instead come up like this, you can ignore 1 red symbol.
Okay.
So you have hidden from the monsters, which means you don't fight. You can if you want. I would caution, unless you want this to be about a 20-minute session, I would encourage you not to.
This game sucks. I only had 1 turn.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, okay, so there you go. That was turn 1.
Just one question. I'm not going to fight, but if I did fight, would I be fighting all of them, or would I be fighting one of them, or would I be fighting all of the griffins or all of the dragons? How would that work?
Yeah, so you would be fighting all of them. So remember how we talked about this being, a cooperative game? Yep. There are huge advantages to forming a bit of a dungeon party and saying, hey, we want to go loot the chamber. Let's go clear those monsters out. Just bluntly put, there isn't a character in the game that can take on 5 monsters at once like that.
Okay.
And so in this particular case, you would go, hey, the barbarian, the wizard, and the warrior all go in there, and they each take on, so they kill 3 of those, and then the other 2 are remaining and take care of that.
And I think you were telling me yesterday that even if you choose to play the competitive version of the game, there is the opportunity for 1 or more characters to temporarily collaborate together in order to take down a big stack of monsters.
100%. So when I talk about cooperatively, we literally are talking about the elimination of player versus player combat.
Right.
The most fun games that I've played of this is where you're playing competitively, you work cooperatively, and maybe nobody ever says, I kind of want what Paul has.
Yep.
But having a little bit of that tension for me in my gaming session is always kind of a little fun. Like, can I really trust Paul, or can I not trust? Right.
Okay, so I've managed to hide, which means do I move this pink cube to here?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right.
And the reason that we keep track of that is there are times where you hide in the middle of a turn.
Right. Okay.
Right. Okay. So that was turn 1. We're now on to turn 2.
Yeah.
You have 2 main options here. One, you can move out of the space. If you move out of the space, you're totally safe from those monsters.
Yeah. Sounds good.
If you stay there, you're going to have to try and hide again. So at the beginning of every turn, all those pink cubes are just swept off your player board.
Yeah, I think trying to hide again is probably not a good idea. Now, my concern with this map layout is if I decide to head west in this direction, then I don't have many places to explore. I'm going to have to come back through here at some point in the future. Right. So I think I'm going to spend 2 of my actions to go to this mountain space here.
Now, note that there is right here, there's a hidden path connecting 2 spaces.
Oh, there is?
The reason, yeah, and you'll notice there are some other spots where there are different colors of paths. In this case, you can, as that search action, if you wanted to, you could try and find it. I don't know that it's that valuable for you.
Based on the layout of the map, probably not. But yeah, if things were in a different place, I can see that being beneficial. Now, I've just spent my first action to move to there. Does that mean that these cubes come off? I am no longer sneaking or hidden?
That is exactly right. At the beginning of the turn, it'll just come up. So if you had said, oh man, I got to get that chamber, you could say my first action is to sneak, and then the monsters are going to try to block you. You always get 1 action before monsters block you.
Okay, and I think that's what Frederick is saying in the chat. Are you not blocked by the monsters? So I can escape from them because I was hidden.
Correct. So, and I'm guessing Frederick has played Magic Realm before. In Magic Realm,
right?
If you move out of a space and it takes 2 actions to move out of space, they block you after the first one.
Right.
We're not,
okay.
We're not getting into nuances like that. It's you moved out, you're good.
Yep. And that did take me 2 actions because I've moved onto a mountain space. Right.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, I'm going to spend my 3rd action moving to the woods. And because we're not on a time limit, I'm not seeing any disadvantage to me spending my 4th action sneaking. Oh, no, I am. So we're not on a time limit, but you're still going to roll the dice at the end of my turn. It's just there is more chance of me hiding from the monsters, whereas if I spent my next action to move, I'm potentially getting further ahead.
I would sneak for sure.
I'm sneaking
because here's the thing: if you move into that black cave, you don't know what's there.
Correct. Yes.
And your chances of hiding are not as good.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So we're going to roll these 4 dice at the end of my turn again.
That's right.
Right. What have we rolled this time?
So you did match on the claws again. Now, okay, so let's just go through this real briefly. Anytime the black die matches, all monsters in the clearing are activated and moved to where you are. Okay?
Okay.
So the first thing that happens is literally these 5 guys come to say hello.
Right. All 5 of them. Not just the griffins?
5 of them. Not just the griffins. I'm going to help you just for
can't get away from these guys.
I know. Right. And the other part is, and now this final griffin, there's only 4 griffins in the game, is also summoned to the space.
And why is that?
So you now have, because it matches. So the way this works is first it's monster movement, then it's monster summoning. So if you had killed all 3 of those griffins, let's say you were truly heroic and legendary, then 1 griffin would still appear in the tile for you.
Got it.
Now, if this had been a different symbol, let's say you had rolled this, literally nothing would have come to your space, and you would have been totally fine.
Okay. And the white dice is the cave symbol?
White dice is the white dice are wandering monsters. So you hid or you snuck. Good move. If you had just blindly moved into this black caves, Note the matching symbol. Three
Giant bats.
giant bats would have come to visit you, and that would
Yeah.
have been a bad one.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, do I have to now roll to see if I can hide again because these are now on my space?
That is correct.
Right. And as long as I don't get 2 symbols, we're okay.
Ooh, did you see? I don't know if you saw that little bounce. You can watch the video later, but this was almost a double.
Yeah, that was my
symbol.
Jedi powers just moving it.
Yeah, well done. Okay, so remember when I said I wouldn't fight 5 monsters at once? I probably wouldn't fight 6 monsters at once until you get some magic treasures and things either.
Yeah, sure. Okay. But that's it. I'm hidden. My turn is over. So
yeah, I'm going to move these for you so you can get to your
token. I'm definitely getting out of there. So let's see if I've got this right. I've moved on to the Black Caves, which is presumably from the Caves terrain pack. And I'm going to now take one of these.
The black one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to reveal it, and it says it's a gate.
Okay. And so, and
gate
what
is not one of those things.
it's
Right.
in 3. So you put that in the 3 space, which I think is where you are.
Oh, that's where I am. Yeah, I'm good at doing that.
Okay. So all gates are, each terrain pack has 1 gate. As you uncover them, you can freely move between gates. It's a way to move around the map fairly fast.
Okay.
So there are no treasure sites in this particular tile.
You can see that because
this if there's a gate, there isn't a treasure site.
Oh, there isn't. Right. Okay, got it. Okay. Right. And there isn't anything else on this map tile at all.
That's correct. So adult dragons and giant bats. And the reason that's important, Paul, is some of the missions you can undertake are things like, clear out bats or get rid of some dragons, right? Remember, you're trying to reestablish civilization. Maybe you're hiring yourself out as a mercenary. In this particular case, you don't have any missions. And so it might be just on to the next thing.
Okay. Now, when you say missions, are we talking missions within this sandbox version of the game, or are you talking one of the scenarios?
Yeah, that's. I'll reveal a card up here. If you want to look at that, there are various missions that you can take at civilization locations.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay, white ones are, here's that bat hawker mission. Kill 3 giant bats, and if you do, you receive some types of awards. The red ones are atrocities which go against society. You don't have to be a good guy necessarily.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and so if you go to those civilization locations, you can pick these up, which suddenly then give meaning to a tile like the one you just moved in.
Got it. Right. So that was my first action, I believe.
Correct.
Now, it looks like I can only go to here unless I spend an action to search for a secret path.
That is correct.
So let's see how that works. I'm going to spend my second action on doing the search action, which is search for a site or path.
So what you do is you have there are search dice.
Yep.
You roll those. What you want are obviously the hourglasses or the looking glasses.
Yeah. No, didn't get any of them.
Okay. So you literally found no sign of it. For humor value, if you had rolled 1 search, let's say 1 success, on consecutive search actions, you only roll blank dice. It increases your chances of finding it.
Okay.
You didn't do so hot. So you'd be rolling both dice again, if you wish, as a third action.
Yeah, no, I think I'll give up with that idea. So it was 1 action to move in, 1 action to search. I'm going to spend another action to move to here. Now, just tell me what the difference is between these light brown areas and these ones. These are woods, this is a clearing, and this is actually a cave. But what difference does that make in the game?
You little cave entrance. You lose 1 action on any turn, and you get 4 actions per turn.
Yep.
Any turn where you spend any part of it in a cave clearing, you have 3 actions.
Right.
So if you move there as your third action, that's it.
That's it.
Your turn 10, we're going to roll the dice.
Okay. In which case I wouldn't be able to sneak.
That is correct. Do you live dangerously, Paul?
Not normally. No, I live in a small town in the southwest So in which case, we'll do a slight undo on that one. I will spend another action to search instead. So this is action number 3. I'm going to search again. And I got 1. So I didn't find it. But if you're saying if I spend action number 4 to search, I'm only going to roll this one.
That is correct.
Now, what happens if I decide to spend my 4th action this turn sneaking? Next turn, if I carry on the search, do I still keep that looking glass?
You don't.
Right.
It's each turn is abstracted in my mind to be a day. And so, hey, you sneak, you take a nap, wake up in the morning, and you go, I don't know. I remember I looked over there. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in the same situation. If I search again, I'll have a better chance of finding it, but then I'm not sneaking.
That is correct.
So I've decided I am gonna take a little bit of a risk. We're gonna spend the evening, and I still didn't find it. Right.
So we are. Now we're just summoning dice.
Yeah, here we go. Oh. All right. So let's just have a look at the icons on the tile. It is that icon and that icon. And I don't think I've rolled either of those.
Congratulations. Your gamble, it didn't pay off because you weren't successful, but no monsters are coming.
Yeah, so that's good. And that's the end of that day.
That's right.
So next day, I think we're going to give up searching for the secret path. We're going to spend my first action to move to here. I then lose an action. So I've only got 2 left. I will spend 1 to go to here, and not wanting to push my luck any further, I am going to sneak as my 3rd and final action.
Sounds good.
So, dice time. What we got? Oh, I think I've been lucky again. More symbols that I don't recognise.
Yeah, so these are various terrain packs. So that's a swamp symbol.
Right, okay.
Right? And this is a stench symbol, which neither on your tile. So congratulations, you day 3 has been uneventful.
Yep, nice. Frederick is asking, do you have to define all of your actions before taking them when playing with multiple players? I think, Scott, you said earlier on, player number 1 would take all of their 4 actions. They don't need to announce those actions before they take them, but they perform all 4 of their actions and then play passes to the next player.
That is correct. This is not programmed instruction where you write them all down. You take your actions and away you go.
Yep. Okay. So next turn, the cubes come off, and let's move to the woods here. So my first action was to move to the woods. Now this is, what terrain pack is this? Oh no, it's a civilized tile.
That's right. It's technically part of the mountain pack.
Yeah.
So, but yep, it's a civilization location. So you're grabbing 2 of those.
One of those, and it is it 2 of those?
Yeah, it's civilization. You grab 2.
2. So we found an astrologer and empty.
Yep.
So they're going to be there.
Each of these merchants, is what these are called, has a different makeup of treasures and spells and missions and items.
Right, got it. And they would have been decided randomly at the start of the game. We would have taken 2 treasures, 5 items, 3 missions, and 2 spells, and shuffled them together. Is that right?
Yeah. What you do is you shuffle these packs in the upper portion of there's literally
right. Okay.
And so the reality is, Paul, to ease setup of the game, you don't even do that. You literally shuffle those 5 piles and put them off to the side, and you only fill in the astrologer if the astrologer shows up.
Yeah, because if they don't show up, then there's no point doing it. But obviously for TTS, you've already got them. You got them prepared.
That's right. That's exactly what I did.
So I think that was my first action.
That's correct.
I'm going to move here for my 2nd and 3rd action because it's mountains.
Yep.
And because this is a safe tile, is that right? Yeah, we don't roll any dice, or we do roll dice?
You're still going to roll the dice. I'll explain why in a moment. But at this point, no monsters can come here unless you found a treasure that attracts monsters, which you haven't.
Yeah, so I'm going to spend my 4th and final action moving to here. Presumably I can't do anything because I'm out of actions.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you still roll the dice, and the reason is there's one particular die side on the white die that resets the monsters, which would not be a bad thing, which you didn't roll.
Okay.
If you had rolled one of these symbols, this one, nope, that one, nope, this one. If you had rolled this, monsters reset. And so if there's no if there's no hero in a tile with monsters, like all these 6 griffins and dragons, they would literally go back to the bag.
Right.
So it's a way to kind of make a tile safe again.
Yeah. They get bored and go home. Right.
They get bored and go home. There's nothing to eat.
Okay. So next day, start of a new day, and I'm in a civilized place. So go through my options of what I can do here.
Sure. And Paul, I will admit I did screw one thing up. I apologize. You're a dwarf. Dwarves don't lose an action in a cave. So technically,
I was going to ask that. Okay, right. I thought maybe dwarves had a benefit for moving through mountains, but it's actually it's moving through caves.
That's right. And barbarians can re-roll 1 search die if you're in a mountain clearing. So you're a little bit better. You're kind of a nice little hybrid. Okay, so the additional thing that has value for you here is you could do a trade action to see what wares the astrologer has for sale.
Right. And what about the knight leader? Can I do anything with the knight leader?
Yeah, so technically you could try and fight the knights if you wished. They're pretty
maybe
tough.
Not.
Yeah, you gain an outlaw token for killing natives, which doesn't necessarily mean anything in a solo game as much as it does. It can impact your score at the end of the game. If you're playing a competitive game, heroes become an outlaw if they kill other heroes, unless that other hero is an outlaw. So by doing nasty things like doing atrocities, you become a target.
Right, got it. Okay. Well, I'm not going to attack the knight leaders, so yeah, let's do the action to trade with the astrologer. So we've got this deck over here, and what do we do?
You can just take the whole thing out, and you can splay it out here. If you want,
okay.
Or wish. We'll just put it face up. Normally, of course, you do this secretly if you're playing in another game.
Right. So I would basically pick up this deck. I would look through the cards, and this is everything that the astrologer has to offer.
That is correct. Okay, so let's talk about, and I'm going to do one bit of organization here. Let's talk a little bit about what's here.
Yeah.
So these 2 cards here are spells.
Spells, yeah.
Hey, are dwarf barbarians notorious spellcasters?
No, not in this wand.
No. There's a green spell and a blue spell, nature and conjuring. Probably not of great value to you, so you don't want to buy those. Okay, let's look at the very bottom. There are 5 items for sale, as shown by the wooden plank. Okay, and the price is in the upper right. The beginning price is 3x whatever it says there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's your price if you sell it, but 3 times the price is what you would have to pay to buy any of these. You can haggle. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, and you can see various protections, right? Like the leathers might be valuable for you. Right? Okay, there are 2 treasures that they have available, and they're both pretty juicy. Let's talk about those. The first one is the Ring of Truth, which goes on a hand.
Yep.
While you have it on your finger, you literally get a white cube that you get to put in your healthy box next to your other cubes.
Right.
You now have some knowledge of white magic, and so you could actually cast white magic spells
Okay, right.
You don't know any, but the other thing that's important about this is it has a red banner. Red banners are epic treasures. You get a legend point and 5 fame if for the first person to reveal it as its owner. So if you were to buy this for 36 gold, you would get, congratulations, a legend point and 5 fame.
Got it. Okay. If I had 36 gold, great. But I don't, so...
Okay, the Tome of Nature gives you a green cube. And notice the plus symbol here. It's a one-time use. This is just you literally read the Tome of Nature. You now know how to cast green spells. And the card is discarded. You get a green cube permanently. Whereas the Ring of Truth only sticks around while you have it on you.
Yeah. Okay.
The other 3 cards are all missions. These are all ways to earn additional gold, right? Or fame, or legend points or fame. Okay. And the way you do it is by, once you pick it up the tile, you go visit clearing 1 of 3 unique mountain tiles and go to the keep.
Just
or
go through
build.
what these are at the bottom, and then that looks like 20 gold in the bottom left.
Yep. This is legend points.
Oh, that's
So this
legend
doesn't
points.
give
That's
you
what
any
we
legend
want.
points.
Right. Okay.
It gives you 5 fames. So you
Right.
become a little bit famous, not very famous, a little bit famous, and you get quite a bit of gold because you were hired to go map the mountains.
Right. And the icon in the bottom right.
So if you go over to your hero card, your cards briefly, you'll see that you have some matching symbols here: intelligence,
Oh, I do. Right.
wisdom, and charisma.
Yeah.
Again, dwarf barbarians, not well known for any of those
Yeah.
things, really.
Okay. So even 2 icons for intelligence is not a lot.
That's a little bit below average. 3
Right.
is pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason what that does is there are mission dice that give you bonus fame and gold, and this says charisma is the thing you roll. So however many charisma symbols you roll, you're going to roll mission dice and get that much additional
Right.
bonus.
Got
Okay.
it. So do you recommend us going on or trying to pick up one of these?
So here's what I recommend. I think you grab this Goblin Blight one for sure, right? That's you can hold 2 and you can discard these at any time. I'm going to not pick up. You got it.
Yep. So where do I put that then?
You put it in your backpack, which is right here on your card.
So that mission goes
technically,
there.
Again, that would be face down. I think we play face up if we want this game.
Because the other players wouldn't know that I'm on that particular mission. So
that's right. And where that matters is like this dwarven foe one here, where you'll notice that it has a little outlaw symbol on it. The red banner says this is an atrocity. They tend to be very valuable for getting legend points and fame, but they also make you an outlaw. So your job suddenly becomes important to go find the mine and kill the dwarves.
Yeah, let's not do that. I might. I mean, how much money have I got? I think I had. Was it 16? It's only 16. I can't afford the leather armor.
But you can, because you can try to haggle for it.
Oh, okay. Let's do that then.
So, yeah, and so if you look at the haggle, if you look at the astrologer, there's a little yellow symbol there.
Yep.
Right? And that represents wisdom. So this person respects wise people.
Right.
That's not you, but you can give it a try. Yeah, you've already taken the trade action. It's free to haggle.
Okay, right? Sure.
And so you'll see there are 2 dice up here. You roll those 2 dice. You want to roll less than or equal to the number.
Is that good?
Oh, I just want to say I want to game with you in real life.
My dice are normally terrible. Is that bad?
Yeah. Yeah, so the red door represents that you've offended this merchant. So a golden rule of Dragon's Down is you always roll 2 dice and you take the worst result.
The worst result. Okay, yep.
And you've rolled 2 of the worst result, which is you've so offended him that he will not trade with you for the rest of the turn.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's normal for my dice. I'm quite infamous with my bad dice rolling, so
that's
okay.
Wonderful.
I mean that's quite funny. But all of those cards go back.
Yep, and I'll put them right back where they belong.
So that was my first action. The action was trade, and as part of the trade, I could haggle at no extra action cost.
That's correct. It's just part of trying to buy an item.
But I did get the quest. I did get the mission. He's not. Yeah.
Yeah. And
any other actions?
One mission comes back and is added to the pile. They always have a full set of missions so that players who come after you have options.
Right. Okay. So, are there any other actions that I can do at this place? Because the other tile that came up was empty, which presumably means there is nothing else there.
Correct. So it's just a way to say sometimes locations have 2 merchants, sometimes they have 1.
They don't.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, what is our mission? Let's just remind myself. What is it we're trying to do? We're trying to kill the Goblin King. So, do we need to be looking around the board for where there are goblins?
Yeah, that's correct. And goblins are in the secret dens. Remember that tile you said, hey, I don't want to go there because I'm going to be limited?
Right.
Yeah.
But those monsters have moved. So there is another way through. And I'm good at finding secret passages through the mountains. So
That's correct.
Let's do that. So one action was to trade. Second and third actions was to go to the keep. Fourth action is to go into this clearing here.
Yep. And the truth
Okay.
is you might want to go there through the narrow ridges just so that you get an additional, just you might as well see what's in that narrow ridges tile while you're on the way.
That's the thing. That's the plan.
So roll the dice. The main reason we want to see maybe these monsters will go away.
Yeah, and they do.
They do.
Well, that changes things.
Right.
So they just go back in the token bag.
That's correct.
They've got Board of Waiting. Juvenile dragons go in there. Okay.
Perfect.
And that is the end of another day. So we have choices now. Now, if I go back to this tile, am I going to draw another thing out of the bag, or has it already been determined that the gate is what is on this tile?
The gate is what is on that tile. So the only reason you'd go there is if there was a mission to kill dragons or giant bats, or you just wanted to earn the fame from killing those monsters.
Right. Okay. No, we're not going to do that. I'm going to go this way, but it is mountains. So that's going to cost me 2 actions. Now, as soon as we move on to the tile, we're going to draw. So this is red text. So where does that mean? What set is that from? Mountains text. Because it's red. Yeah. So we draw one of those and we flip it over, and it is a forgotten city, but there's no number on it.
Okay, so let's talk about it. This is a special location. So first off, when the dragons came and trashed this realm, there was a city that was destroyed, and there was a dwarven settlement that was ruined, a dwarven line. When you uncover the Forgotten City, number 1, you have located where this legendary place is. You earn 1 legend point and 5 fame, which is over on there. So you've moving around, find different map tiles can be beneficial. Legend points are the red ones.
Right. So we've got 1 of those.
And 5 of those
ones. Right. Excellent. So 19 more needed.
Yes. Now let's explain just real super briefly. The reason fame matters is if you die, you lose half your fame. If you retire, you convert fame into legend points as a 10-to-1 ratio.
Right.
Okay. So think of legend points as being like Napoleon or Caesar, or like you transgo over the eons, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas fame is more like you're a Kardashian.
Right. Okay. Temporary.
Yeah. Hopefully that analogy works.
Okay.
Okay. Now here's the other thing. When you pull the Forgotten City, all 3 of these tiles right here are placed in the tile as if they had been drawn.
1, 2, 3. Okay. And these all go on that tile.
That's correct.
So what have we got? We have a site, another site, and treasure. But whereabouts? Do these go on a particular...
So first is you get a free treasure off the top of the deck. Nice. Congratulations.
Okay.
And you can just reveal that.
Potion of healing.
Okay. So that goes, you'll notice the little symbol right there. That says where it goes.
Yep.
And and you just put it there. It's just a regular treasure. All that means is all your wounded cubes, if you get beaten down, you can just chuck that card and heal yourself completely.
Okay. Yep.
And then the second thing is you're drawing 2 site tiles and putting them in the narrow ridges tile.
Right. Okay. So we have a crypt on 5. And we have a horde on 6.
Yeah, those are juicy.
Right.
Okay, so there are 2 treasure sites, and suddenly this idea of going after the Goblin King and the Secret Dens, that's entertaining, but I like treasure.
So this Forgotten City tile, it doesn't mean that this Forgotten City is actually somewhere on this tile. It's here and we found it.
Yeah, correct. The reason this tile matters is that represents that the crypt and the horde, these are probably the 2 monsters that trashed the Forgotten City.
Got it. Okay, so thematically, these 2 sites are part of that Forgotten City.
That's right, and that treasure was probably one that got discarded somewhere in the wilderness.
Yep.
An overlooked potion. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So you have...
I think I've got 2 actions left. Yeah, because I spent 2 actions to go to there. Now, the problem is, because mountains cost 2 actions to move into, if I do decide to sneak as my 3rd action, I've lost an action. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to take another little bit of a risk. I am going to move to there, spending another 2 movement points. So that's it. That's my... Sorry, another 2 actions. So that's all of my actions done.
That's
Let's roll
correct.
the dice. So
And
the
I'm going to
icons on the tile are mountains and that. I think we're okay.
Oh man, you are lucky. Because here's the thing: with 2 treasure sites in there, you now have more chances of monsters coming, or more types of monsters that can come. Well,
Right.
but that's good. I'm glad that worked out for you, Paul.
I think I used up all of my bad luck on the first tile, and now we're okay. So
Right.
Next round, I am going to spend. I've just noticed my audio seems to be bleeding through your microphone. It's just started, but it's gone again now. Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
It could be because I was typing.
It's gone again now. Right,
Okay.
so I've spent 2 of my actions to move to there. Now, this is a red tile, and that's also red. So, again, I'd be risking it a little bit.
Can I
So
humbly suggest sneaking and alerting? Because remember, alerting is really critical because it increases your limit for number of cubes you can play during combat, and you can freely adjust your items.
My other option is that I just move to here and sneak.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that. So I'll move to there and I will sneak. Okay.
All right.
So end of that day. Let's see what happens monster-wise. Okay, so we're looking for that icon and that icon.
And
I
you're
haven't
safe.
rolled any of those. We've also rolled the white arrow again, but there is no monsters currently on the board. If there was, they would disappear.
Nope. Correct. So, Paul, in a solo game, you can kind of imagine almost like the cloud dropping rain in a cartoon. Monsters will tend to follow where you are.
Right.
In a multiplayer game, you will tend to get monsters sprinkled all over the map.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right. Next day, I'm going to spend 2 of my actions to move into the crypt, or move to the location where the crypt is.
That's correct. You know the crypt is there. You've heard rumors of it. You have to find it.
Right.
Which
sounds like search. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It did say on the search action, didn't it? It said search for a site or path. Now, this crypt is in the mountains, and because I am a barbarian, when I'm searching in the mountains, I get to re-roll a dice.
That's correct. So you're going to roll the 2 dice, and then you can re-roll one of them for free.
Right. Is that just searching in the mountains, or is it anything in the mountains?
That is just searching in the mountains.
Okay. No.
Okay.
But I still have 1 action left.
You do.
So I'm going to use that last action to search again, and because I'm searching for the same thing on the same turn, that one stays. Didn't get it.
And you get a free reroll.
Yeah.
You do.
Come on. There you go.
Okay. So, a couple things. First, if you're the first person to find a treasure site, congratulations, you earn a legend point and 5 fame.
Right.
Okay.
And that's just because I was the first person in the game to find a site. Right. Got it.
And it's worth noting in the game, we don't have it in Tabletop Simulator, but in the game, there's a journal that keeps track of what happens to you during the game, where you can write things down. And the point is to create this storyline of you. Give yourself, Paul, the dwarven barbarian, finder of the
Potion of Healing
city, and locator of the horde, and monster magnet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've found the crypt. We heard it was here. We found it.
Yep.
But that was my 4th action.
So you are rolling dice.
I'm rolling the dice. Right. What have we got? I don't think any of the icons match.
That's correct.
So we're okay.
This is going to be an exciting turn. So you found the crypt.
Yes.
You may now loot the crypt. And this is the most satisfying part of the game.
Okay.
Because what you're going to do is for each loot action, you will roll the 2 yellow dice,
Just have a look at where the
and
loot action
whatever is
is.
there in the upper right. Oh yeah,
Then
sorry,
to loot
loot
aside.
action is
Got it.
yeah. And so yeah, let's just go with what did you roll?
2 2s.
That's great. So whatever is the highest number you roll,
Mm-hmm.
you count down that many, and I'll grab it for you just to
Okay.
keep it simple. But you grab that many items, you count down that many cards. In the game, that is so tactily satisfying to count the cards and grab
Right.
the
Yep.
second treasure. I'm just going to grab it for you so you don't see what else is in there. But
Right.
this
Okay.
is
So
what
this says 5 deep treasures and 1 treasure. So does that mean the 1 treasure is on top, and the 5 deep treasures are the lower ones?
they're actually it's the opposite because
Oh,
it's
okay.
easier to roll higher numbers. So that 1 treasure is at the bottom. So
Right.
this is your treasure. I'll give you the satisfaction of revealing
We'll
it
flip
and
it over.
flipping it over. And okay.
It's a shield of mercy.
So
Unfortunately, I don't have 3 hands.
you don't have 3 hands, but what you do have, Paul, is an epic treasure, the red banner.
Red banner.
So if you were playing a game with other players, you could show it, say, I have found the Shield of Mercy. You get a legend point and 5 fame, and then you throw that in your backpack, or you can, get rid of your battle axe or your great axe and take the Shield of Mercy. Not. I would reveal it, take your fame points and whatnot, and then put it in your backpack.
So what do I get for it? I get
a legend point, and it's always a legend point and 5 fame.
Okay, got it.
For finding things, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I was to equip this Shield of Mercy, I wouldn't be able to use my Great Axe anymore. Is there a default attack, like if you punch things?
There isn't actually.
Right.
You need these are tough monsters. You have Fists of Fury, Paul, but I don't think.
So the Shield of Mercy is going just in the backpack for now.
That's correct.
Is there a limit on how many things I can put in the backpack?
No, there is not.
Okay.
The backpack is meant to represent kind of your baggage train, and you chuck it into the woods when you get in a scrape, right?
Right. Okay, so we looted, which was my first action. We found that. Can we loot that anymore, or is that it gone?
You can loot for as long as you want. There are 5 treasures left.
So that is the crypt. There is only 1 crypt in the game, and that is the crypt.
That you have located the 1 crypt protected by the lich.
Now, when will that show up, that lich?
On 1 die face of this is which one is there we go. If we roll that's the sight activator.
Okay.
If you were to roll that, then the lich will come to the crypt and the great drake will come to the horde.
Right. But if I'm not there at that time, then I'm okay.
If you were, yeah, correct. So you are at risk right now of an adult dragon, of 1 to 3 adult dragons, 1 to 3 juvenile dragons, and 1 lich coming to you at this time.
Okay, I think I'm going to loot again. So my second action is going to be to loot again.
Yep.
And this time we've rolled 2 and a 4, and you said it's the highest number that we take.
That's correct.
Now, what happens at this point if we'd have rolled a 6, because there is only 5 cards in there?
You get nothing.
Oh, right. Okay.
So put another way, it's actually pretty difficult to get that last 1 or 2 treasures.
Yeah.
Every year. Yeah.
It's a quick ring. So that looks like it's got a slot on it that I can put a brown cube on that gives me 1 movement. Or
that is
whatever it is.
Yeah. So do you have a spot for it?
Let's have a look. It's a hand slot. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, you now have the ability to place. You only have 3 brown cubes, but if you in some way find something magical that gives you another brown cube, you could actually play 4 cubes in your maneuver spot. So now you're actually kind of a speedy dwarf.
And that's when we get to combat that those brown cubes are used.
That is correct.
Okay. Now that didn't have a red banner, so that isn't a special treasure like that one.
That's correct. So you don't earn. No, nobody cares. You are possessor of the Shield of Mercy. Nobody cares that you own the quick
But
ring.
look, I've got a ring.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. So
right.
that was 2 actions spent looting. I think we've had enough here with the whole looting thing.
Okay.
But then again, if I move to these mountains, that's going to be my remaining 2 actions. So
I
I
would
think
I would loot again, right? You got
I
one
think I'm going to
more.
loot again, and then I might sneak with my last action. So one more looting. Right, I've rolled a 5 and a 4, which means I don't think I get anything.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, and then I'll spend my last action to sneak.
You
So
really do roll poorly, Paul.
I do. So at the end of my turn, we've rolled these dice. And I think we're okay. What does the forest icon do?
So that would mean if you were in the woods,
Right. Oh, because it's
in a woods
green.
tile.
Green. Right. Yep.
Yeah. So think of it this way, Paul. Each tile has a local monster
Mm-hmm.
who considers that home, and then each tile type has a wandering monster.
Right.
And then right. So in the woods, it's the dire wolves.
Yeah. Okay. So we're okay.
You're okay.
Right. Next day.
All right.
2 actions to go to here.
Yeah.
And then 1 action to go to here and then sneak.
Sounds
So
great.
I'll leave the sneak cube on there. Right. We've rolled all sorts of things,
Nothing.
but I think we're okay. Oh yeah, this is
Yep.
that tile again. Yeah.
Right.
Now, this chamber, does that work in the same way as the crypt? Is I can loot it?
It's exactly right.
Right.
And
Okay.
even just finding it will give you some legend points.
Oh, because I've not found it yet, have I?
No, correct.
Right.
You have to search for it.
Is there any way of marking that the dwarf barbarian knows where the crypt is if I need to go back to it later?
Yeah, the journal is what
The
the
journal.
purpose of that is. Because
Right.
the true story, Paul, is the journal is also really fun to look back on. I
Mm-hmm.
have journals from when I played Magic Realm in 1980
Right.
that I still possess.
Right.
That I can look
Nice.
back and see a record of what happened to me in a game.
Right.
That's pretty fun to
Yeah.
do. Right?
Yeah. Right. So the journal would say that the dwarf barbarian knows where the crypt is if I want to return it, but I currently don't know where the chamber is. So let's spend 2 to go to there, 1 to go to there. I'm going to play it safe again. I'm going to sneak again. So we'll look for the chamber in the morning. So we've rolled that, and I think that's okay.
You're okay.
That's okay.
Yep.
Right. So next day, we are going to search for the chamber. Now, is it mountains? I don't think it is. It's not.
It's not.
So I don't get any rerolls. Right, but that's half found. My second action is to search again. Found it. So my second action, I have found the chamber. I'm just going to write that down in the journal.
Yep.
And then my third action is going to be to loot the chamber.
So worth noting before you do that, and
Yeah.
I'll just grab it for you. You do get your reward for finding those things.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're on 4.
Yep.
Well, now you did say that 10 fame converts into 1 legend point.
Yeah. So there's this concept called retirement. And so what that means is if you're at the civilization location at the end of combat, and the reason that's important is somebody could try to intercept you if you were playing a competitive game.
Right.
When you retire, you convert 10 fame to 1 legend point. And then at the end, if it's the last turn of the game, which it is in a solo game, you also get 1 legend point for being a living legend. So if we look at this, you actually have 7 legend points right now if you were to retire.
If I was to retire. Right. Got it. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Right. So looting the chamber.
Looting the chamber.
We've rolled a 2 and a 5. So I get treasure number 5 from the chamber stack. And I'm just going to have a look at what the chamber has in it. And it has 3 deep treasures and 3 treasures. So because I've rolled a 5, that means I'm just getting a normal treasure.
Yeah, you're not getting. What is that? There we go. Yep, this is what you found. This.
Gloves of Aggression. Right, now that's got a slightly different icon in the bottom. It's not just got a brown space, it's a brown space with a cube on it.
For free, this counts as 1 cube, a box and a cube. So this helps your attack speed.
So it's not just the box, it's a box with a virtual cube on it.
That's right.
Yeah. So so let's take off this ring and put it in my backpack. Let's put these Gloves of Aggression, because they are gloves, and you can't wear gloves with rings.
That's right.
Right,
Magic
okay. So first action was to search, second action was to search, third action was to loot. I think we're going to get greedy, and we're going to try looting again. So it's a 5 and a 3, so it's the bottom card off the stack.
I'm so sorry. What now? I was answering Frederick.
Oh, it's number 5, so it's the bottom card from the chamber stack.
Yes, it is. One moment. Here's what you get.
Symbol of Stealth. So,
okay, this is cool. This is actually a really good one for you. This gives you a free sneak action every single turn. So now you, in essence, have 5 actions as long as one of them is sneak.
Yeah, okay, because I've been sneaking a lot. And in fact, that was my 4th action. So I am now going to use my bonus 5th action to sneak.
That's right.
Yeah.
Probably worth noting, I'm kind of chuckling about how you have this dwarf barbarian with gloves of aggression, a great axe, who's pretty sneaky.
Sneaking around. Well, you told me the percentage chances of sneaking versus not sneaking before we started, and I liked those odds. So, unfortunately, go on.
Yeah. You rolled some griffins.
I did. It's 2 griffins. But it's not 3 with 2 juvenile dragons as their friends. It is just 2 griffins.
Yeah, that's all.
Now, let's see if I'm able to hide from them. Because I was sneaking. So I've hidden from them.
Yeah. So let's talk. Do you want to take a few moments and talk about combat?
That's exactly what I was going to... Yeah. Because if you think I'm in a position where we could have this fight, then let's go through how it would work. What are the stats on these griffins then?
Yeah. So let me throw out one quick comment. As you can imagine, a dwarf barbarian is meant to clobber big, heavy monsters, not necessarily nimble, quick monsters.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yep.
Okay. So let's throw out that griffins are amongst the most nimble of monsters in the game.
Right, okay.
That you can't take them. So, okay, the items on the numbers on the token are meant to mimic cubes as if you had placed them on your card, on your hero card. The 2 is that strength is 2. So if it hits you, it is hitting you with a strength of 2. Okay? Its attack speed is 0, and its maneuver speed is 4. All again equivalent to you placing cubes on your cards as well.
Right.
Okay, and I'll explain what that means in just a second. To kill this, you have to hit it with a strength of 3.
Yep, that's his health.
And if you kill it, you get 9 fame for each one you kill.
Okay.
Okay. So now look at your great axe for a moment. If you were to attack with your great axe, you have to put 3 cubes on here minimum, because that's what it takes. The amount of damage you do is equal to the number of cubes on the card plus the number of sword icons that you've covered up. So you do 4 damage.
Right.
That's correct. It's worth noting that if you were fighting an armored monster, which the griffin is not, it'll have a little shield symbol if it's armored. It removes one of those sharpness swords. And so you would do 3 damage if you hit an armored. These, you can kill these. If you hit it, it's dead.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So the next thing is you didn't alert, so you only have 2 cubes you could place this turn. 2 additional cubes, brown cubes. And you would have a choice as to whether you place them in your attack speed or maneuver speed. With me so far?
Yep. And I've got +1 attack speed because of my gloves of aggression.
That's right. So now it's worth noting you cannot attack from hiding unless you have a bow and arrow or a spell, right?
Right.
So you have to step out and go,
Oh,
here I am.
actually
And then
hidden, aren't I? Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So let's pretend you said, yeah, I'm going to step out and I'm going to swing at these things and I'm going to swing as fast as I can. And so you're going to put 2 cubes in this attack speed, right? And remember, you're putting 3 in the great axe, and so now you don't have the ability. That's your 5 cubes at that point, right?
Why is it 5?
5 is the number of cubes you can play in a turn, in a combat round. If you alerted that turn, you can play 6.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
is that any combination of brown and red?
That is correct.
Right.
With the exception because you have such a big weapon, you have to spend 3
minimum
just
of
to
3
wield
red.
it.
Oh, okay. Right.
So that's where, like, going back to that merchant buying a short sword or something that was a little bit faster, allowing you to play this 3rd brown cube actually would have been pretty beneficial.
Okay. So what do these 2 brown cubes plus my bonus 1 for the gloves of aggression do? Is that speed?
Yeah. So if you were going, I'm going to drag this down by your guys just for a second. You are doing 4 damage, so you're like 4 over a red cube, 2 over the first brown, and 0 in the last brown, your maneuver speed. What you do is you process attacks in order of the speed of attack. So yours goes first. Right?
Go through that again. I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah. You're swinging with a speed of 1, 2, 3 cubes.
Yep.
Which is faster than 0. So your attack strikes first.
Right. So its speed is 0 then. What was the 4 again?
That's how fast it's dodging you. So imagine this griffin swooping from the air back and forth, and you're trying to hit it with a great axe. That's hard to do.
Right. Got it. Okay. So my attack would go first because I'm 3 speed. It is 0 speed. So just if I was to put these 2 cubes in here, I'm still going first because I've got 1 cube on the gloves of aggression. Is that right?
That's right. And the truth is this is smarter. And the reason being, so you compare the attack speed to the maneuver speed of the target. And if you have more cubes than the maneuver speed, you automatically hit. Right?
Right.
So if this guy were flipped over, notice his maneuver speed is only 1.
Right. Okay.
Because you had, again, back to where you had it before, where you had 3 attack speed, you would hit it and kill this thing outright.
Right.
It's just dead.
Yep.
Okay. But if he's on this side, your speed is not fast enough. So what you have to do is you have to roll. I'm going to drag him down there.
So even though I'm going first, I'm not fast enough to automatically hit it.
That is correct.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So then you roll these dice to determine if you hit it. That's a hit symbol.
Yep.
This is right, and you have to roll 2 of them, right?
Because you use the worst result, and if one's a blank, that means you've missed. Yep.
That's correct. And if you roll this, then you hit it if you are equal in speed. So if this guy was flipped over, if this guy was flipped over, right? Your attack speed is 1, right? Because you put 2 in maneuver.
Yep.
His maneuver speed is 1. This would say, yep, you hit because you have the equal speed.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, but did you just so I understand this? If it was on this side, its attack speed is 3, and therefore it would actually hit me before I hit it.
That's right. So let's say, and it's worth noting, this is called the which side the monster is on is called its tactics. And what you do each round is you roll the hide dice, 1 hide dice for each monster to determine whether it flips over or not.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So most likely it's staying on it, the side it's on, but sometimes 1/3 chance it's going to flip over. Okay, so let's say this monster was on this side. It has an attack speed of 3.
Yep.
You have a maneuver speed of 2.
Yep.
Right?
Which means it automatically hits me.
It automatically hits you with a strength of 2. There's a golden rule in combat in Dragon's Down. Every time you're hit, you're either dead or you're wounded.
Okay, right.
Okay. So what you do is at first you check to see if you have armor. You do have armor. You're wearing an iron helmet. The barbarian is smart. I'll use that word loosely. Smart enough to put his head in the way of the griffin. And so the iron helm gets hit with a strength of 2. Its armor value is 2. Oops, it's actually that one.
Okay, it's the shield part, yeah.
Yeah, which means it gets damaged, so you would mark it with a pink cube to say it's damaged. If it had been hit with a strength of 3, it would have been destroyed.
Right, okay.
And then you take a wound, which is literally you move any of these cubes in your healthy box down to your wounded box.
Right.
Regardless of whether you got hit with a strength of 1 or 4, you're still only moving 1 cube. You're either dead or you take 1 wound, regardless of the damage, how much it hit you. Okay?
Okay.
So the value there would be, if you, hey, I don't need this might cube to kill these guys, you could go, I'm going to wound this might cube. Right? Because you're not going to use it anyway. If you start taking away these other cubes, either you start to get slower or you start to get less healthy. Now a strength of 3 will actually kill you. Or if you lose a second pink cube, now if this dude hits you and you don't have any armor, you're dead.
Right. Okay, so each time I take a wound, I have to move 1 cube from the healthy area to the wounded area. Is that right?
That's correct. Now that's where your potion of healing comes in. Yeah. Is you have the ability to, in the middle of combat, say, I'm going to chug my potion and bring all your stuff back.
Right. So, okay, got it. I think.
So I'd say you have a 75% chance of clobbering these monsters and having some fun doing it.
Oh, okay.
And maybe at 25, I'm just estimating 25% chance.
I think we'll go through it because you've explained how the combat works. So I kind of want to see all of that. See all of that happening. Right. So I've put my cubes back.
Okay. So the steps you go is first, if you were hidden, you go, no, I want to fight these guys. So you step out of hiding.
So my first, that isn't an action. That's just start of turn. Those come out.
Yeah, there's a combat phase, and so you choose who you want to target. Which one of these 2 griffins? They're both the same, so it doesn't matter. But
you say they're both the same, but this one upset me last week, so I think we're going to go for that one.
All right, he's been stealing your chickens?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So now the next step is you decide how you want to play your 5 action cubes.
Do we decide what side he's on, or is that later?
That's after. That's the very next thing. So you have to choose this first. Again, there's a 67% chance he stays and a 33% chance he flips.
But I think we've worked out from this particular monster, and because I've got the gloves of aggression, I don't need to put any cubes if he stays on that side.
That's right.
But then if I do put the 2 cubes on the bottom, that's not enough to automatically hit it. So there's no point putting the 2 cubes on the bottom. Whereas if he's on the other side, if I put the 2 cubes on the top, then we go at the same time in combat. Is that right?
He's going to hit first, but you're going to automatically kill him.
Right.
So remember, so it's attack speed, then maneuver speed. And the maneuver speed literally means nothing unless that's the guy you attacked.
Right. But why is he going first? Because we're tied. Is it just that monsters go first?
I'm sorry. Nope. I'm wrong. I forgot about your gloves of aggression.
We're 3-3.
If you go there, you have 3. So then the tiebreaker, Paul, is the length of weapon. You're a 14 and he's a 0. There's nothing printed on the token, which means it's 0. So yours would hit first.
And I would kill it. No, I wouldn't. Would I kill it? No, I would, because my speed is 3 and its evasion, whatever you called it, maneuver is 1. So I want it to flip over.
You want the guy you're targeting to flip over
Yeah.
so you can kill him.
So there we go. I've done my thing. So I've got a speed of 3. And
there's your
yeah,
5 cubes.
There's the 5 cubes. And it would have been
Okay.
6 cubes if I'd have spent one of my actions to go on alert. Could I have done that before I did the combat?
So it alerting is an action, and that
Mhm.
means that what that represents is instead of your battle axe being slung on your back and you being prepared all day, instead you're walking around with your axe in hand. You're very wary of your surroundings, and therefore you can be a little bit more,
Yes.
little quicker in combat.
But could I have done that as my first action before fighting?
So I think you spent all your 4 actions, didn't you?
I think this is the next day.
No, this is the combat is always at the end of each turn. So this is still the end of that turn where you moved into that where you
Yeah,
looted
I
that.
thought I got there. I mean, it's been a while because we've explained the combat rules, but I think we got there. I think the griffins came on, but then because
Yep.
I was sneaking,
Oh,
I
okay.
rolled,
So
and I hid from him.
Yeah, so let's take a step back then for
Yeah.
a moment.
So that was the end
Okay.
of that turn.
Okay, so you can stay in hiding and there's
Mhm.
no combat this turn. Then what happens is the beginning of next turn,
Yep.
you could do an alert as your first action or a sneak or whatever you wanted to do.
Yep.
We're going to roll the summoning dice one more time. And there's always that small chance that additional guys are going to come.
But this is the start of a new day. I have 4 actions right now.
Yeah, so right. So just to make sure we're clear, you could have, when you were in hiding, you could step out of hiding and say,
at
I want
the
to fight
end of the
these guys
turn.
right now. Or you can
Right.
take a chance and do that alert action and whatnot in the hopes that you don't roll more monsters to come to the tile.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the combat only happens at the end of the turn.
That is
So,
correct.
in other words, it is now the end of the turn. I hid from the monsters, but at the end of the turn, I could say, I tell you what, let's just forget the fact that I'm hidden behind a bush, and we'll attack them. If I don't, we go to the next day. But I can't just say, right, start of the next day, I'm going to choose one action to go alert. I would literally have to give up my remaining 3 actions and then fight the monsters at the end of my turn.
Yeah, so what you could do is you could say, I'm going to alert, you roll the hide dice, and as long as you're successful in hiding, you can continue to loot and all that. The griffins are there, but they don't know you're there, and you're looting and doing your turn normally. But you're right, each turn is split into an action phase and a combat phase.
Right, got it.
Okay.
Got it. Now, I think there is no benefit for me using 6 cubes. I just wanted to know if I was able to. I think I was. So let's do that. The end of the previous day, I was hidden, but I'm going to decide to come out of hiding, and I'm going to attack them. So this is the one we're going to attack.
Okay. So what
I've
you do is
assigned
you
my
use
5
your
cubes.
targeting token.
Oh, right.
You
Okay.
just
Yep.
put that one. All right.
Question in the chat: if the dwarf was wearing another piece of armor, how does one know which armor the incoming attack hits? It's a good question.
Yeah, great question. It is the choice of the barbarian in this case. So Paul would choose which one he kind of wants to put in harm's way.
Right.
You'll notice that there's an aim spot on the lineage card in the lower left. Those represent if I'm fighting you, Paul. Let's say we're playing a competitive game.
Yep.
I can try to aim for your body to avoid your armor, but it costs me a brown cube, thereby making my attack slower.
Got it. Nice. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
Paul, you're rolling the you're rolling both of those, one for each of those monsters. Well, one for each monster.
Okay. So
Is
I'll
the
put
way
that
to
one
think
there, and
about
that
it.
one there. So that one and that one. Okay.
Yeah, you
so
got the exact opposite of what
the
you
exact opposite of what we wanted. Right. Okay. So
Which
let's
is
go
fine.
through this then. I've got a speed of 3.
3.
This has got a speed of 0. This has got a speed of 3.
Yep. So what I like to do, Paul, is I actually organize these. I just put them in decreasing attack order so I can track it.
Yeah.
And you're right here. So your attack goes first because you have a longer weapon.
I do. Yep. But this is the one that I'm hitting.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Your speed is 3. Its speed is 4. You have to roll the attack dice or the hit dice, and you have to roll to. Yeah. So,
That'll
are
do.
you?
Is it? Oh, is
Well,
it?
are you equal? Your attack speed is
No.
3 to its 4, so the answer is no.
Didn't get it. Right.
Okay. So the next up is this one's attack is a speed 3,
Mm-hmm.
and your maneuver is a speed 0. So
Yeah,
he hits you,
it hits me. Right.
which
Okay.
damages your iron helm,
Yep.
and you
Because it's
take a
2 and
wound.
that's 2. And I take a wound.
Yep, and you can choose any of those cubes you want, right?
Um, yeah, I think for the moment, I think I'm going to just choose this red one.
Yeah, you don't need it. And
No.
the truth is you don't even need the brown cube.
No.
And there will be a time if this doesn't go well where this potion of healing is going to bring it all back
Yeah.
anyway. So I almost think it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now
What
finally is
happens if the griffin was only hitting me for 1? Would it just bounce off?
anytime you get hit with any strength whatsoever,
Yeah.
you either take a wound, you would take a wound, but this wouldn't have been damaged because it's
Okay.
more resistant than the strength of the attack.
Right.
Yeah. So put another way, there is a concept of getting wounded to death.
Right.
You can be fully armored, but you keep getting beaten. I imagine that scene from Jurassic Park where the little monsters, little dinosaurs kind of attacked him. He wasn't armored, but you get the point.
Yeah,
You kind of
yeah.
get overwhelmed. Yeah.
Right. Okay. But as it was, it attacked me for 2, which means... So what happens if I chose not to put the iron helm in the way?
Worth noting, you always have to.
Okay.
You don't have, if you have a piece, you always have to. But you're
If I
right.
didn't have it?
You could have it's sorry.
If I didn't have the iron helm, what would have happened?
You would have been hit by a strength of 2.
Yep.
Your health is 4, so you would have actually just taken a wound.
Just one
So
wound.
it would have, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not seeing the benefit of me having the iron helm because I still took a wound.
Yep. Where it matters is if an attack hits. If this had been an attack of 4,
Yeah.
let's say, right, and let's say you didn't have this and you got hit with a strength of 4.
Yeah.
That equals your health. Congratulations, you're
dead.
just died.
Right. Okay.
When armor is hit, you cannot die unless you are completely wounded and lose all your cubes. Oops.
Yeah.
That was an accident. Or the monsters have clobbered their way through your armor.
Right. Okay.
Right. Okay.
I see. Right.
Okay. This last guy gets his attack even with a speed of 0. His 0 is equal to your 0, so it doesn't automatically hit. Ties go to the defender, but we do have to roll the dice.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately,
Paul,
I think it's hit me.
You're just a master of this.
I am. Yeah.
So 2 damages equals a destroyed, so your iron helm is gone.
Oh, because it was already damaged. It's now gone.
Yep. And you take a wound.
Take a wound.
Okay.
Right.
Congratulations. That was one round. And
that was just practice.
A couple of quick things on this, Paul. Notice that you can run away. You have to play more cubes in maneuver than the fastest monster. Now, the fastest monster is a 4.
4 at the moment.
So
yeah,
you
that's
can't run away from this guy. But if both of them flipped over, you could evade these guys. You could run away.
Right. No, I'm feeling luckier on the second round.
I have faith in you, my friend.
But I think I'm going to put my cubes in the same place.
Okay, now which one do you want to target?
This one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one we want to target because I will hit it first because speeds are 3, but I've got the longer weapon, and then my speed is greater than its maneuver, which means I automatically hit it. So, unless it changes tactic, of course, we'll find out. No, it doesn't, and the other one doesn't. So,
okay,
I'm first. I hit it. I kill it.
You kill it. Just move it off. Put it above your gold.
Done.
And the point, right? And there you go. Now and technically speaking, Paul, you immediately get 9 fame.
Yeah. Let's take. Oh, I'm just going to copy and paste.
I'll get the 5 for you.
All right, got it.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, and then the other one hits me on speed
You got to
0.
move for it. Yeah. He doesn't hit you automatically.
It doesn't hit me because my speed is 0.
That's right.
And there you go. See, I told you I was feeling lucky this round.
That's right.
Right, next round of combat. I'm going for that one. Yep. I'm going to leave my cubes where they are. Let's see what tactic it's going to do. Is it going to switch? It's not going to switch, which means I go before it, but I don't hit it automatically because I'm 3 speed versus 4. And there's 2 hits.
Boom.
Nice. So that's another 9.
Yep.
That's a lot of fame. I've lost track of how much that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's another one of those. I'm going to start changing some of these up.
Yep.
That's 30. So, oh, I've got a 20 and a 30. So that's effectively 3 more legend points there.
That's right.
And
so remember, you also get a bonus of 1 when you retire. So you're sitting at 8 by my calculations, right? 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Okay. What happens to these 2 griffins? Do they go back in the bag?
No. If you kill all the griffins are just out of the game. Nice. And so again, thinking about your journal, you're like, dwarf barbarian, founder of the Forgotten City, blah blah blah, griffin poacher, or whatever you want to put to kind of tell the story of your character.
Right. Got it. Okay, so that was the end of the turn. The griffins have gone. It is now the next day. I could.
May I point out on your top of your player board, right where my hand is?
Yeah.
The rest action might be something you would consider. Right. If you did, then you don't have to spend your potion.
Okay. So quick rest is heal 1 cube for 2 actions. Short rest is heal 2 cubes for 3 actions. And long rest is 3 cubes for 4 actions. Right. Okay. Probably should rest. So let's do that. So we'll do the short rest, which is 3 actions. That gets me my 2 cubes back. I have 1 action left. And I will use that 1 action to sneak. Oh no, I've got a bonus action of sneak.
You do?
I'm going to be sneaking anyway. Let's loot the chamber.
Sounds great.
Okay, the number I've rolled is a 4. So what have we found in the chamber?
I'll grab it for you. You have found that.
It's red.
Okay. So number 1 is you get 5 fame and 1 legend point.
Yeah. Okay.
You're well on your way.
I'll get rid of that and take that.
Yep.
Okay.
So now if while that is equipped, i.e. face up in one of your miscellaneous slots, you get a gray cube.
Right.
So you actually have some so literally you get a gray cube and drag it and put it in your healthy box.
Yep.
Here's what that means. 2 things. Number 1 is if you find a spell that requires gray magic, you can try to learn that spell.
Okay.
You try to learn it, and then you would put it here, and then you can cast that spell. Right. Secondly is this is a wound you can take that's free, right? You're not casting any gray spells anytime soon. You're a little bit tough.
Yeah.
Think of that as like mental toughness.
Right. I then use my 5th virtual action to sneak.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's roll some dice.
Yeah.
No griffins, no juvenile dragons.
You are in a good spot, and you got 3 treasures left in the chamber.
3 treasures still in the chamber.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I think my chance of finding more might
be... actually, let me think for it. I actually know the math here is there is the loot die. There is actually a 0 on it, so you have actually a pretty good chance of rolling it.
So
right there. The grabby hands, my favorite symbol in the whole game.
So it's
If
0,
you
1,
roll,
2, 3, 4, 5.
correct. If you roll 2 grabby hands, that's the equivalent of in the movie The Hobbit when do you remember when uh, Bilbo looked out of the corner of his eye and he saw the Arkenstone lying
Yep.
amongst Smaug's
Yep.
gear? That's if you roll 2 of those, you look at the top 3 treasures and take any one that you wish. You have some now knowledge about whether it's worthwhile to stick around or not.
You're tempting me. You are tempting me. I think I am going to have one more loot before I disappear. So let's try one more. Well, there you go. I've rolled a 2 and a grabby hands. So that is card number 2.
You get the 2, and there's your treasure.
Yeah. Okay, what we found this time? It's another red one. So that's another legend and another 5 fame. And we found an ascendant ornament.
Okay, so this is a pretty cool treasure. This one is an ornament that's powered by purple magic. You have no purple cubes, so this sounds like a great thing to sell to a merchant.
Yep.
If you play it would allow a magic user. So I don't know if you remember that other character was a sorcerer. They have purple magic. It converts a purple cube into a mite.
Right, got it. Yep.
So it's a way for a magic user to be stronger in combat.
But that's going in the backpack for now. Right, that was my first action. My second action is to move to here. So we are moving for the first time into the secret dens, which is black. So it's caves, and we draw this, and it says Dwarven Ruins.
So congratulations, Paul. That's the other place that got trashed 200 years ago.
So does that mean we take all of these?
That's exactly what that means. I'll get your legend point and 5 fame for you.
There you go. Okay, so we found there is a site, there is a treasure, and there is an item. So the site, we pick one of those, and it is the altar, which goes on number 3, which again is where I am. I'm good at this, aren't I?
Yeah, that part you're getting lucky on.
A treasure.
Yep. So literally a free treasure off the top of the pile here, and a free item is what that other one means.
And a free item. So what have we got? We've got, well, we found it's more red. So that's another legend point and another 5 fame.
Yep.
And that just gives me an extra red cube as long as I'm wearing it.
That's right.
So I'll put the belt on. And that gets me another red cube. Nice. And this one is a piece of armor, which I can wear.
Things are coming up, barbarian. So the good news, so you can see how by getting treasures, now look at you if you were to come across 2 griffins. You go, hey, I'll stand here and let you punch me. Right?
Yeah.
And an alert action could be, if you know that griffins come to the tile you're in, you could even say, I'm going to take an alert action to take my breastplate off because I'm tougher than my breastplate.
Right.
For example. I mean, in theory.
Yeah. So where were we? I looted as my first action. I've moved as my second action.
Yep.
I kind of want to just, I mean, I need to alert these goblins because my mission is to kill the Goblin King. So how do I attract the Goblin King?
So the way that works is if there are 10 goblin counters, one of those goblin counters randomly in the mix is the Goblin King.
Right.
You need to roll the scratch symbol.
Yeah.
While someone is in this tile.
Right.
While you're in this tile.
Is there anything I can do to attract the goblins?
There's not in the that is actually something that I'm looking at, the idea of, no, I actually want monsters to come. How can I, make noise or whatever?
Yeah.
And that's a possibility.
Yeah. I think just for the case of my character has a mission, and whether I can even accomplish that mission or not is down to the random dice rolls at the end of the turn. The goblins might never turn up. So I think, if you're looking at some kind of action that maybe as an action, you can roll the summoning dice. And you would only ever do it in this situation where you have a particular mission to try and kill some monsters and you want them to turn up.
Well, and what playtesting has shown, Paul, is there's and I love my play group, but one of the things they would do is they'd run into my tile knowing they're super fast and I'm not that fast, and then they would make noise, is what the action was called, in
Right.
order to increase the chances of monsters coming. Know that they could run away and leave me stranded in a tile. And the truth
Right.
is it's not super fun. I mean,
No.
it's fun for them because they laugh at me. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to make sure that
Yeah.
works within the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention this at the start, but obviously this is not a published game yet. You are still working on this game. You did say to me yesterday that the graphic design of a lot of the tiles and some of the artwork, that is mostly finished. So that's not a complete prototype. But in terms of these finer tweaks to the rules and things like that, you're still developing that.
Yeah, I would say we're 95% finished. We're doing like the simple things like what you're talking about. How can we make that work in game terms is where we are. And that same thing applies. Like, for example, the journal hasn't been designed. What's going to be the look and feel of the journal, right? That kind of thing.
So if I want to stay on this tile in order to try and roll these goblins to get them to appear, I'm not sure what other actions I can do. Oh, except we have this altar.
Yeah.
I need to search for the altar. So I need to find the altar first. Is it a mountain tile?
Right.
I'm guessing it's not. No, it's not a mountain tile.
Yeah.
So I'm just rolling. So my second action is to search for the altar. My third action is to search for the altar. Okay. And my fourth action is to loot the altar.
And remember, you've found the altar. That's a legend point.
That's a legend point and 5 fame. I will get rid of that and take another 20. And we're now going to loot the altar.
So worth noting, you're at 16 if you were to make it to civilization and retire. So you're in the ballpark.
I've rolled the number 2 on the loot card.
On the altar. I am going to chuckle, Paul, if you die this close to, doing this one.
Okay, we found a clashing ring. So I understand what that does. It's got a space for a brown cube, which would give me 1 extra speed. Now then. So that's actually, no, my gloves of aggression is better because it's got the same slot, but it's got a cube on it. However, the gloves of aggression take up 2 slots.
That's right.
Now, what was that other ring that I had? That one. But the thing is, I've only got 3 brown cubes.
Your limit, this is the beauty of one of my favorite aspects of the game. If you were a human barbarian, you would have 1 less might cube and 1 more action cube. And suddenly that might make a lot of sense for you.
Okay.
So
that's it. That's the end of my turn. Now I am not going to choose. I am not going to do my sneak thing.
Okay.
Although no, I probably should, because I can easily just say, even though I'm hidden from them, I can attack them. So
and you get a free one.
Yeah. Right. We want the goblins to show up. The goblins have not shown up. Has anybody shown up? Nothing shows up.
No.
Right. Which means the next day I will just continue to loot the altar and see what we get. So first action, looting the altar. It is number 5, which is okay because there are still 5 cards in there, I think.
Yep.
Symbol of motion, which I don't have room for unless I drop something else. Now, the symbol of motion, it's a slightly different icon to the speed.
Yeah, it matches the move action. All of the symbol of something gives you a free action.
Okay, so give me 1 move action a turn. I'll tell you what, I'm going to unequip the Trickster's Stone.
Yep.
And we're going to have the symbol of motion instead.
Yep.
Can I do that without spending an action to alert?
On the turn, literally in the moment that you loot something, you can put it into a slot and put something into your backpack that's there.
Got it. Right.
If you were to now change your mind, it would require
an action. Yep, that makes sense. So I'm going to loot again. It's a 2 and a 5, so that doesn't find anything.
That's right.
And again, because I'm just going to stay here and wait for these goblins to turn up. So I've rolled the grabby hands and a number 2. So there is something else to be found in the altar.
Yep. And it's worth noting,
Oh,
Paul, that
it's a deep treasure.
yeah, we've thrown it. I've thrown out here that we're going to 20, which is
Yeah.
what I have in the rule.
You can
But
go
a
to
person
30 if you
can make
want.
a guy can make this as
Yeah.
a person can make this as big or little as they wish.
Yeah.
So
Elven
see if you can
slippers.
tell me what that one does.
Well, they're elven slippers, and I'm a dwarf, so I'm not interested. But
We'll
there's a
start with that.
space. There's a space for a green cube, which is a type of magic. And if I had a green cube, I could put it on there. And if I do, it counts as 1 speed in combat.
That's right.
I mean, sure, I'll put them on because
Yeah.
I'm not currently
Who knows?
wearing anything on my feet, so it doesn't do anything.
Right.
And the
You're
other
not going to
option, of
bump
course,
into
Now
not going
that
to bump
I've got-
into any of your friends in the secret dens.
no. Now that I've got all these items, I could go back to one of the sanctuary places, speak to somebody. As long as I don't offend them again, I could sell some of these items and buy some other stuff.
Yeah. Well, Paul, let's explain something real quick, if you don't mind going up to
Sure.
where I'm triggering right now.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that there are other ways to get legend points.
Mm-hmm.
So at that sanctuary, if you had found a spell book, a spell scroll, or a tome,
Right.
you can take a trade action to give them one, put a pink cube in that box, and you earn an LP.
Right.
If you look over at the go all the way to the mines is probably
Yeah.
the one that is more interesting. Look at what it says on there.
So I've got to be at the mine.
Yep.
And if I do, I give them a treasure that grants an extra action, of which I've got 3 of them. The Dwarf
You
Digger,
got
any
2.
deep treasure, and any
Yep.
epic treasure. Is the epic ones the ones with the red banners?
That's correct. So you have 3 legend points using 3 trade actions if you're at the mine, free for the gathering. Now you'll notice that these each have 1 spot. So if you were in a game with multiple players, right, it's whoever does it first gets the bonus.
Right. Where is the mine then? Is it one of these tiles?
It is. It's down here, down at the bottom.
Oh, sorry. It's actually here. It's that
Yeah,
particular. Right. Okay. Well, there you go. That's
Right.
that's a good way of getting the remaining legend points. I think I'm all done for this turn. I think.
Yeah.
I've lost track. So
Yeah.
we'll roll the dice at the end and see if the goblins turn up. The goblins have turned up. It is only one of them.
Okay. How lucky are you, Paul?
Is it the
I'll
Goblin
let you
King?
pull it out of that. I'll let
Well,
you pull it out.
let's have a look. It is the Goblin Battler.
Goblin.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is on this tile here. And I tell you what, I'm just gonna at the end of my turn, I'm gonna. Oh no, I've got to roll for a start to see whether it sees me.
Let's start. You don't have to hide. You can just say, I'm gonna clobber this dude.
But for the fun of it, okay, I was hidden, so I'm gonna sneak out and go boo, and we're gonna fight him. So let's have a look at the stats.
Yep. He's
Okay. Now there's a little red number 6. What's that?
yeah. That's the length of his weapon. So he's not using his claws like the griffin was. He actually has a short sword in his hand, and you can see it there.
And now I am going to assign my 5 cubes. Well, I have to assign 3 to the great axe. I have no choice in that because it takes a lot of effort to swing that. The other 2, let's have a look at this. So I think, I'm already getting 1 speed for the gloves of aggression. So if I put another one on there, I am attacking first, and I am hitting it. Is that right?
So I humbly apologize. I was looking at the chat.
That's okay. So if I put a cube in the speed, I've got a speed of 2, which means I will be attacking first.
That's right.
And because I've got a speed of 2 against its evasion of 2, it means I'm automatically hitting it.
You have to be faster than its evasion speed of 2.
Okay.
Remember, it's the first number. It follows the same flow as your card. So the first number is its attack. Second number attack speed. Second number is its maneuver speed.
So if I've got 3 speed, I go first. I automatically hit it, and I would automatically kill it.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's do that. But of course,
Does
it
he
might
flip?
flip
I don't
over.
even know.
and it isn't flipping over, which means I've killed it.
You've killed the Goblin Battler,
Yeah. So
and you get
that's
7 fame.
right. Okay, nice. So the next day, I think I'm going to decide that staying here for the next 5 weeks hunting for goblins might not be the wisest thing to do. Let's have a check of the legend count. I've got 10 actual legend points. But I've got another 2, 4, 6. I've got another 7 here if I retire. So I've actually got 17 plus 1 if I retire.
That's correct.
So I think, based on the fact that this card is here, which I can achieve, we're gonna change our mind and we're gonna head down to the mine and see if we can get there, see if we can survive the journey to here. So first action is to move to here, which is 1. 2 actions to move to there, a 4th action to move to here, and then my bonus free action to sneak.
And you actually have a bonus move action as well. I don't think you can use it. So you might as well spend it to alert or something just in case you get into trouble.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So we've rolled. Oh, right, now what's on the tile? It is... Oh, it's that one. It's that one again. So nothing appears.
Nothing appears.
Right. On the next day, I go 2 to there using 1 action and my bonus move action.
Okay.
So that's 2. 3, 4.
And you still have your sneak and 1 action, 1 movement left if you want to, or whatever. Yeah.
So yeah, is it 4? Hang on a minute. No, it was 1 to there with my extra 1. 2, 3, 4, and then with my bonus sneak.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if anything turns up. Well, monsters would go back if there was any on the board. And nothing turns up.
Yep. You rolled these in the right order. If you had rolled that the other time, you would have griffins and then you would have goblins. Yeah.
We're looking at a mountain on there. So again, next round, 1 plus my bonus 1. 2, 3.
Yep.
That's normal. So 4.
And remember, you're a dwarf, so even if it wasn't, you don't lose an action in a cave.
Oh, that's a cave, isn't it? Of course, it's a mine. And they call it a mine. So, do I have an action left to trade?
I don't know that it's gonna matter.
Oh, it doesn't because it's a safe place, isn't it?
Yeah. So and so these 2 civilization tiles get revealed in the square.
So let's have a look at what's here. So there is a scholar and a crone. So those 2 things are available for me to interact with if I wanted to.
Yep.
But I think, so he's accomplishing this a trade action. He says, yeah, trade the treasure listed below, remove it from the game.
Yep. So, and it's 1 trade action for each one of those cubes you place.
Sure. Okay. So a treasure that grants an extra action. I'm going to give it this symbol of stealth. So that goes out of the game. I put that on there and I get a legend point. Then as my next trade action, it's any deep trade. Now, what identifies a deep treasure from the front of the card?
It's the back of the card is the only place where it currently shows. Yeah. Okay. As you can imagine, fiddly and tabletop simulator, a piece of cake, and a real.
Yeah, you might want to put some icon maybe somewhere on the card just to say that it's a deep treasure. But
make a note of that.
We'll give them the elven slippers because they're elven slippers and I don't want them. Which is another cube on there, which is another legend point. And then I think I retire.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the 1 for retiring gives me 20 legend points.
Did we count right?
I think so.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
12 at the moment.
So,
another 7.
Nope, you're right.
Plus the 1.
Yep, which gives 20. You literally 20. So let's just chat about a couple things.
Yes.
Congratulations, you won the solo game the way we said.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're literally the first person I've seen go through that hasn't, shall we say, met with a setback or two.
Right, okay.
Um,
I mean, it started off
uh,
rough when 5 monsters appeared, but thankfully I hid from them. Otherwise, that might have been a very short game.
yeah, it's funny. I had told Paul ahead of time. I said, "Do not underestimate the value of sneak. Your chances of hiding from a monster is 44%,
To 92.
unless it goes to 92 if you
Yeah,
sneak, and so it's a good idea."
yeah.
Worth noting a couple of things. Let's say we were playing even a cooperative game, right?
Hmm.
Where I'm in here, right? Or should I say a competitive game, but not where we fight each other.
Yeah,
When you retire, what you do is you would take these 20 legend points, you would keep this extra fame, you'd put it all on, you'd move your dwarf barbarian over to, sorry, that was my
yeah.
leg, but you put this off to the side with your legend points on top of it,
Okay.
and your, right, and then I might still be playing. I go, okay, he retired, he's out of the game, you could
Hmm.
start another character,
Oh,
right? And
right.
then
Okay.
I'm in here I'm trying to get to 20 points,
Yeah,
right? But you could start another character, and maybe you could even eclipse your 20 points. So just know that the solo game, you're going to a goal. In the multiplayer game, you playing a set either number of turns or race to a number of legend points to win the
yeah,
game.
yeah. And the other
Okay.
thing that we were going to mention is as well, we've chosen one of the easier characters to play, the dwarf barbarian. But over here, here's one we prepared earlier, the half orc warrior. So is this what it would start with?
Yeah, so this was another
Oh, because it
character we
says on
set
here.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worth noting I missed the cube there. Okay, so in this case, right, 3 health, so different, not
Hmm.
quite as strong, a little bit faster, and different starting equipment,
Mm.
right? Um, and so, and you'll note that each of these characters also has multiple representations,
Right.
right? So, um, and actually, something I'm really proud of. Mr. B Games, has committed to the extra cost of having every single one of these lineage cards in a white, black, Asian, and Latin male and female form of varying body types. So you'll be
Okay.
able to find, a character that, or a character that you feel best represents what you want to play.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thrilled about that, to be
Yeah.
honest.
But this
Um,
one would play differently. I mean, the first thing I'm noticing from this is straight away, with the short
yeah,
sword, I only need to commit 1 cube. And
that's
if I
right.
do commit 1 cube, I deal 2 damage.
That's right.
One for the sword, one for the cube, and one because of the sword. And if I wanted to, I could put in a second red cube to do 3 damage.
That's correct.
And it's also
Correct.
got 3 lots of protection items, so that's gonna help prevent taking the wounds.
Yeah. So think of it. Imagine that the character you just played is all about, hey, I just need one hit
Yeah,
and you're out of commission. Whereas this character is more about wounding the monsters, and being able to take a lot of punches to the face right before they go down.
right.
Right. You'll also notice that the half orc adds 2 different boxes, again, to give you options. If you are fighting against a single creature, you might want to swing really fast,
Hmm.
right? But notice the half orcs, not a lot of intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. 0,
Yeah.
to be exact.
Now, we
Right?
didn't really use those intelligence, wisdom, and charisma stats in our game, but they come in when
Yeah, well,
you're. Oh no, we did, didn't we?
you used it once. Those yellow
Yeah,
tokens represent your ability to interact in civilization.
that was it.
And
Yeah.
so when you complete missions and when you haggle over the price of things,
Hmm.
Paul, would you mind going to the lower right portion of the
Yep.
screen where we have the hero selection and all these cards? So just these right here. Yeah.
So there's
So this,
20 of these.
yeah. And you'll
Wow.
notice it has all these, and each of those is a male female version,
Right.
right? Um, and it's worth noting that if you are a dwarf paladin, right? That's a different, just leave those 2 cards for a moment. Look at the differences. Yeah, go
Oh
ahead,
right.
put that
Yeah.
back. So if you're playing a human paladin, your health is 3. You're very fast on the attack. You're not as fast on maneuver,
Mm-hmm.
and you're this kind of blend of both speed and might, and then you have this one magic. Whereas if you're playing the dwarf, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can drop that in spot. Suddenly you're tougher, right? You're 4 health,
Yeah.
you're stronger, but you're slower, and you now have that maneuver cube. And so it's not like, oh, I'm playing the paladin, here's how I play a paladin, and every
It's
game is kind of the same. No, it's
dwarf paladin or
literally
human paladin.
fundamentally
Yeah.
different, right?
Right.
And that even holds true of the idea of if I'm doing an elf, right? If I'm doing the elf, notice that they start with a magic cube of your
Yeah.
choice and an extra spell. So now instead of being this, mighty paladin who goes out and smites things, you're now playing a magical paladin who emphasizes the magic as your key characteristic.
Which leads us nicely on to magic. We didn't see magic at all in this game, but let's say we decided to play an elf warlock.
Yep.
How would this work? It says in the bottom right that we start the game with 2 spells.
Yep. So I'm just going to show a few of these just for sake of conversation. Okay. So you'll notice that the banner has a color associated with it. In this case, black, which is what the warlock likes. At the beginning of the game, let's say we were playing this elf warlock. At the beginning of the game, you notice you're not very strong. You're fairly speedy, right? Yeah. Oh, thank you for doing that, Paul. You start with a black cube, and then you choose either a black or a purple cube, and then the elf gets one cube of anything they wish, right? So you get 3 magic cubes at the start of the game. During combat, you place cubes that match the color shown in the boxes in order to cast it.
Right.
And and of course those multicolor ones can be any color you wish.
Yep.
And as you get into more powerful spells, you'll notice that they require more of a certain color. And when you cast it, you have to wound. You spend so much mental energy casting that spell, you actually are wounding your magic cubes as you go.
Okay.
Right.
Now, you mentioned earlier on that if a character doesn't start off with magic, when you find spells, you have to learn the spells during the game?
Yeah, there's this. It's one of my favorite mechanics in the game. So at the very top, you'll see this learn spells. There's a central theme to the game. Always roll 2 dice, take the worst result. So let's say I found a spell scroll. There would be a spell associated with it. And so let's say it was this fireball.
Right.
Right? If I don't know how to cast fireball and I have a purple cube, I have to have a purple cube to be able to, I can take an action to learn a spell. I roll the dice. And if I roll 2 of these spell books, congratulations.
You've learned
I take this spell off of the scroll and put it on my player board as a spell I know how to cast.
Right.
For the rest of the game, I can cast that spell.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, it didn't work out so well. I rolled that. And what that means is you got cursed. And I've dragged it up to be by you. Okay. You roll on the curse table, right? To just find out what kind of curse affected you. Now, you can run around the entire game with all kinds of curses. You can get them removed in civilization locations. But just like the search, I could say, hey, I'm going to try to learn the spell again. And you only roll the 1 die that didn't match.
Yeah.
Right? That was a failure. And so, and when you learn a spell, you become known throughout the world as as a powerful spellcaster. You earn a legend point and 5 fame.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Just looking at the chat, we have a question from Frederick. Is it possible to hire any of the natives or something similar? Are there mercenaries or hirelings in this?
Yeah, there are not mercenaries and hirelings in this. Yeah, not at this time.
We'll leave that for the expansion set.
You got it, Paul.
Now, we've obviously chosen today
30 more pages of rules
with this playthrough to be the nice guys and go around and kill monsters and things like that. But you did give me the option earlier on that if we really wanted to, we could have chosen to fight this Knight Leader. Now, fighting this looks like quite a tough fight, but it would have still got us a legend and it would have got his 11 fame. But then we would have become an outlaw?
Yeah, for each one of these guys you kill, Paul, you become an outlaw. You
Right.
get an outlaw token, and there are outlaw tokens over by the cubes, so you can get many of those. So let's say you had killed these two guys, you earned 22 fame for
Hmm.
doing it. And but you also earn 2 outlaw tokens. At the end of the game, you have to roll some dice to determine whether those outlaw tokens positively or more likely negatively impact your legend point
Right.
score. Okay, so it's a little bit of an unknown. So you retired with exactly 20 legend points,
Yeah.
right? Imagine if you had done that, but you had 2 outlaw tokens. Now you're rolling, and you might become a legend like Jesse James,
Hmm.
right? Where he became more famous for it.
Yeah.
Or you might more, a John Dillinger, Al Capone, or somebody who's
Yeah.
remembered significantly more negatively for it. Maybe Robin Hood's the better positive example, right?
Right. Yeah.
Uh, so and the reason these exist, the main reason that these are in the game is for missions. There are atrocity missions. Remember that one we had, the
Right. Oh,
dwarves?
yeah. We could have got a mission to like defeat the knights or something like that of the keep.
Yeah, and so what happens is and there's one, I forget what it's called, but it's that you actually saw, but it's kill these dwarves and then plunder this mine. You
Right.
get some treasure out of it, and you get some legend points, and you become an outlaw. And it's kind of, I gotta tell you, the atrocities are get you legend points faster in a competitive game. It doesn't always work out so well for you because other
They've got to,
players.
because otherwise, from a game balance point of view, nobody would actually do it because there's a downside to doing it, but
Right.
the rewards are higher. The other thing that I wanted to
What?
ask you about is we touched on this briefly at the start. We've played the sandbox mode today, which is
Yep.
basically open world, travel around, go where you want, and interact with the game world. We mentioned at the start that you always use the caves terrain pack and the mountains, and
Yep.
we've played today with woods. How many other terrain packs have you currently designed?
Fully designed and play tested are swamps and plains. So 5. So you could play
Okay.
an epic game with 30 tiles, have 6 players playing on it, and or more. There
Yep.
isn't a theoretical limit. I think there is, realistically gameplay wise, right?
Yeah.
Because a little bit of downtime while somebody else takes their turn, but um, yeah, so we can have up to 30 tiles on here. And it's worth noting that you can also play this in a full exploration mode where you start with only one tile, let's say the keep. You choose a random civilization tile, you put it in the middle of the table,
Yep.
and then you start exploring out from there. There's an explore action, which allows you to draw a tile and place it next to you.
Right.
Um,
I
and
quite
at
like
that
that.
point,
Yeah.
yeah, really, it's really, really fun. And then the scenarios we talked about earlier, things like Against the Dragons, where your goal is to track down and kill a certain set of dragons or whatever. And that's a fully cooperative
Yeah.
game, right? You form your dungeon party and off you go.
Right. And is the objective of that scenario to literally achieve the end goal and the legend points don't matter, or do the legend points still matter?
No, in that one, I'm in play testing of that right now, but
Yep.
legend points aren't even important unless you wanted to plan a way where you say, one ultimate, like everybody wins, but I'm winnerer.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you
So,
could have the look, you beat the scenario and you win the game if you defeat all the dragons, but also just make a note of how many legend points you get in total, and then the next time you play,
yeah.
try and beat them again, but try and get more legend points or something like that. So a
Yeah,
combination of a mission-based scenario with a beat your own score system built into it.
that's right. And I'm experimenting with a whole bunch of different scenario concepts
Hmm.
like that. And I've committed to publishing on Board Game Geek a downloadable blank scenario creation kit as
Nice.
well.
Yeah. And I noticed, just speaking of Board Game Geek, if anybody is interested, there are some designer diaries that you've been writing that are on there already.
Yeah, you can see the evolution of the game from, probably 2, 3 years ago, and how much it's evolved both graphically as well as, a picture into my disturbed mind to see what was on or what I was thinking as I was
Yeah.
creating the game.
Now,
Yeah.
I've just got some more questions while we're here. We didn't really see any of these. Are they like guardians or something?
That's exactly what they're called. They're
Right.
literally called guardians. These are the toughest monsters in the game. So let's take a look. Let's take a look actually at this one at the altar, because I was kind of hoping he was going to show up.
And how would that
Um,
have shown up? That's when I roll. Is it a certain result on the white dice or the black
it's
dice?
actually on the black
Oh,
die.
it's
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
that.
That's it. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And
So
what
that would have
happens is,
shown up.
he would have shown up. Um, so remember, your cube limit is 6 per turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can picture like this is the demon here is placing 7. If you were to highlight that,
Yeah.
and on the back side, he's actually casting the fiery chasm spell, meaning
Oh,
he's actually
right.
spending 8 cubes. The fiery chasm is auto death if you are not hidden at the time that it occurs,
Are you
right? I mean,
digging
think
out the
about,
fiery chasm card, or is that just from memory?
yeah, I happen to know from memory.
Okay.
But the guardians are tough to kill, and
Yeah.
another one, and I'll put it right next to that demon. This is the toughest, in my opinion, monster in the game is the Great Drake. Um, yeah, I'm dragging him over there. There might be a
Yeah.
slight delay,
No, I got
but
it.
okay. So the Great Drake, the thing that he does is, number one is he's really fast. He's hard to hit, and he's armored, and he takes 4 damage.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So if you were hitting him with your great axe, you would have had to have swung with 4 cubes, meaning you only have 2 for
Yeah.
attack and defense speed. And then he also can he also can launch a fireball, which can hit up to 4 targets. So
Right.
obviously the fire-breathing dragon from fantasy. And
Yeah.
look at the length of that. So even if you were to spend 2 cubes to be faster than him, his length, his fireball hits you before anything. So
Yeah.
these are just tough cookies in the game.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's clear that you've put a lot of work into this game, over the years that you've been working on it. And what little, well, the few bits that I know about Magic Realm, I mean, we said at the start, is this the sort of modern equivalent of Magic Realm? And you were like, you didn't want to take that credit, but I think you've done it. I think you've achieved what Magic Realm, well, does, but Magic Realm is fairly inaccessible except for a small percentage of people such as yourself, whereas this game is a lot more accessible.
Yeah, the ultimate goal was to say, how can we make this game so that somebody under the age of 55 can learn to play it,
And not just that, because
right?
I'm approaching that age myself, and I still don't feel that I'm ready to sit down and spend the time to learn Magic Realm.
No. Well, I think, Magic Realm, they did a 3rd edition rule book, which was fan made. And somebody was telling me, I thought it was 160 pages. And somebody was telling me with Compendium, it's like 300 pages. And I will say, Magic Realm is my favorite game of all time. It's
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons without a dungeon master. But it is so deep. I mean,
Yes.
and what I've attempted to do is say, I want to give folks the experience of playing it without of playing a game like it. I want you to
Yes.
have that feeling like
Yeah.
I am actually wandering around a realm, and around the corner could be my demise, but it could also be the horde, and
Yeah.
I really want that.
And Dragon Shadows in the
So
chat, he said that this game will save you from building the game from all of the files on BGG. So yeah, for those people out there who have thought, right, Magic Realm, I'm going to do it. I am going to go to BGG. I'm going to download all of the files. I am going to print my own copy of the game, and I'm going to spend months learning it. Or just get this one. Because although it isn't the same game, it does capture the feel of the game. And as I say, I mean, I just to clarify, I went into the game tonight knowing almost nothing about the rules, and by halfway through, I was kind of doing things myself, I think. So a lot of the rules, I think, were fairly streamlined. I like the dice system that you've got because it's the same. It's whatever you're doing, you roll 2 dice and then you take the worst result. And I think a lot of the rules, for those people watching this video, they might have thought, Paul already knows how to play the game and he's pretending that he doesn't. It's because a lot of the rules were intuitive. So I was asking you questions. Oh, does this work like this? And you kept saying, yep, that's exactly how it works. And that's not because I knew it in advance. It's just that's the way that I kind of would expect the rules to work. And it's good when they do work like that, because that makes learning the game easier, understanding the game easier, and from my point of view, teaching the game to other people easier as well. So I think you've achieved that with the game.
Thanks, Paul. For folks who have played my other game designs like Hellenica Story of Greece or Spring and Autumn Story of China, I obsess over smallest of details to make the game playable. And if there ever comes a tie between, or a dilemma between, playability and complexity or fiddliness or whatever, I choose gameplay. This game does have a lot of components to it, but again, we've really worked hard to make the iconography logical and understandable.
Yeah.
So hopefully we hit the mark.
Yep. But that's it. So let's wrap things up, and let's just remind people, if you're watching this video, that the game is going to be going on Kickstarter. Keep an eye out for it. There is a scheduled date of the end of September, but that might slip by a week. But yeah, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye out on BGG. I don't think the Kickstarter page is up yet, Scott. Is it?
It is. There's a registration page.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I would ask, if you're intrigued by this, just subscribe on Board Game Geek and subscribe to the Kickstarter page. I'll grab it's kickstarter.com/projects/MrBGames/dragons-down. We'll make sure that goes into the comments of the.
Yeah, I'll put that in the description of this video straight after we've finished.
Yeah. And I'm very active on BGG. If you have questions or you read the designer diaries and think something sounds wonky, I'll explain to you my logic, and who knows.
Yeah, cool. Right. So thank you very much, Scott, for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure, and I appreciate you taking your time to teach me how to play the game.
Pleasure's all mine, Paul. It's an honor.
And thank you very much to everybody who's watching. This was a sponsored video. Mr. B Games have sponsored this video, but I create these videos in order to help you make a decision about whether this is the kind of game that you like. So if this has influenced you one way or the other to either get the game or not get the game, then my job is done. I do get quite a lot of emails from people saying, "Oh, thanks very much for covering the game. That persuaded me to buy it." But I also have other people contacting me saying, "I'm now not going to back the game because I've seen your video." And as long as I've helped you make a decision on whether this is the kind of game for you, then yeah, that's my job done. The game that we've showed today obviously is on Tabletop Simulator because I don't have a physical copy of the game. As Scott said earlier, from a design point of view, it's 95% done. From a graphical point of view, what you see here is mostly finished. But always keep an eye on the Kickstarter page for the very latest information. And obviously all of those juicy stretch goals or add-ons or whatever else could be added to the game later on. And yeah, I'll put a link to that in the description of the video. So we're all done, Scott. Thank you again, and I will speak to you all later on. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.